Good evening, friends, professional colleagues scattered all over Nigeria. We welcome you to the family of First Choice Accurate Success Link FCA. It all began in November 2019 when Ican decided to change their pattern of testing case study by introducing what is called the Preseen. FCA decided to make a go at analyzing the Preseen case study given and predicting a possible unseen. That first shot was right on target and we scored our first goal with case study. After that first match, there have been other two matches played in 2020 and FCA, when she strikes her shots, she never misses any shots. These three matches played in 2019 and 2020 have built up the profile of FCA when it comes to case study review. And we assure you that this fourth match that will be played in this May 2021 exam will get another goal well deserved. As in every match played in the field, there are players and there are coaches. Today, all of you writing this May 2021 exams, you are all players in the field. And we, your lecturers, we are your coaches. And we have various areas where we coach you players on so that you can play very well. Today, you will be listening to one of your coaches, the coach in case study, the man responsible for getting all our shots right on target when it comes to case study. As I invite you to listen to Mr. Ayomi Ladoku, I want you to pay rapt attention to everything he is going to tell you, the instructions he's going to give you, so that when you get to the field of play, come Thursday, you will hit your shots right on target. I now invite Mr. Ayomi Ladoku to come to the center stage and take the floor. Mr. Ayomi Ladoku, you have our attention, please, sir.
All right, good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to Ican Preseen case study analysis for May 2021. Can you please confirm you can hear me before we start?
Loud and clear.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, sorry, one second. Okay, thank you for the wonderful introduction. But we're not going to waste much of our time. So we're going to go straight to the point. And I'm pretty sure that you've heard a great welcoming address from the host for tonight and one of the key persons in SCA. So thank you so much for that. That was wonderful. And personally, I'm highly motivated to say everything I have to say so that you will record great success on Thursday by God's grace. And we're also aware that some of you guys are having classes tomorrow. Okay, so that's why we brought in, we rescheduled the time to be 7:15 instead of 8, so that max 10:15 or 10:30 thereabouts, we can release you guys. So you're all welcome once again. So like I would say, just put me on loudspeaker and you listen attentively. And for the very first time, I have to send the report to you guys earlier on. And I have reasons for doing that, probably because of the much calculations you have to do, so that you start earlier to start familiarizing yourself with the calculation. I received 1,001 billion calls on how those figures were gotten. So, so I'm going to be explaining all of them to you, and hopefully we're going to have a nice time together. So you're all welcome once again, I needed about 45 minutes to take you what case study is all about, okay? Before I go straight to the Preseen analysis. Remember our, what's it called? Mr. Chima has told us that we are your coach. So I just want you to listen. So at least for now, I am your coach, okay? So just listen attentively. I needed you to understand what case is all about so that irrespective of the way the examiner decides to come, on Thursday, you are able to, find a navigator and you're able to find your way and, do justice to the case. So that's why I needed to tell you this. I'm sure you're aware of what SA is all about. We do training for aspiring chartered accountants around Ican and ACCA in the pipeline. There are also other advisory services in terms of policy formulation, corporate engineering, and all that. And one of them is even the business analysis, okay? So in case you're just meeting me for the first time, my name is Ayomi Laduko. I have a background in banking and finance, and I'm also a member of the Institutional Accountant of Nigeria. And I think I have a lot of experience around finance, audits, internal control, and of course, risk management, okay? I have some instructions for us so that we can really enjoy ourselves. We want all of you to be muted on both video and audio. Maybe at the end of the lectures, you can decide to put up your video after you must have been greatly blessed, okay? So maybe if you want me to see your face, that would be fine. But during the lecture, let's ensure we are muted on both audio and video so that we can really coordinate this virtual class. In case you are using your phone device, if a call comes in and you receive the call and you want to come back to the lecture, you may not hear me again, okay? So you might need to log out and re-log in, okay? Especially if the network is not very strong, okay? And you can use the chat button to put up your questions or make comments. Obviously, I might miss out some of your questions, but I needed you to be a little bit patient. It's possible that in this first session of the lecture, I might have answered your question, okay? But if peradventure I didn't answer your question and I also miss out a question in the chat room, you have my number, okay? Or probably on the WhatsApp platform. Please feel free to ask me your question. So missing out your question is not deliberate, okay? It's not deliberate. It's not deliberate, okay? Somebody's saying the audio is very low. Is that correct, my host?
The audio is perfect.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. So, Mr. Kazin, you might need to take a look at your device. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so in case I miss out your question, please, it's not really deliberate. It might be that, I'm just overwhelmed with a lot of questions that might be coming in. Okay, so please just maybe after the class, you can put a call through or probably chat me privately or on the WhatsApp platform. I'll be glad to answer your questions, okay? So that'll be fine. So in case you have technical difficulties, you can also put it up on the chat room or probably on the WhatsApp. My host is going to attend to that. So as my host is looking at the lecture, watching the chat room, is also watching what is going on the WhatsApp platform, okay? Don't forget, don't put on your video, okay? And all questions and clarifications is going to be attended to at the end of the class. So, but I might decide to wait, maybe for 5 minutes to attend your questions, all right? So that we can really manage your time, can really manage our time, okay, obviously. I'm seeing about 2 videos on already. If your video keeps coming on, my host will have no option than to remove you, okay? That might be the punishment because you will be distracting by, putting on your video, okay? Let's just try to be well coordinated. Then I see somebody raising the hand. You don't need to raise your hand. If you have anything to say, just go straight to the chat room, right, and put up whatsoever comment you want to do over there, okay? I would rather prefer that you chat privately with my host, Mr. Chimaroke, because if you chat me privately, I might not be able to attend to you. Actually, by the time I start flowing, on the lecture. Okay, so that would be the issue around that. Okay, so somebody is saying, can I record? You can't record from your hand. We are recording from here, so we are you're going to get the link to download the video, and you can listen to it over and over before your exam. So full concentration and maybe participation is expected from everyone. Okay, so that would be nice. So just listen, put me on loudspeaker, and let's see what we can do tonight. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's take a look at our outline. I want to give you some background around case study. What will be the format of a good business report? Okay, how do you even write case study? How can you how do you write case study? We're going to find out. And of course, business analysis, where you use your business model, we see the mind of the examiner around that. Then your financial analysis, how do you do that? Executive summary is quite important. And of course, I also take you around some key consideration and the business for today, analysis of Ican Preseen case study for May 2021. We also go straight there. So we have about eight section. I know that about 90% of the candidates listening to me, they don't bother about section 1 to 7. Just go straight and let us cram the report. That's what you wanted to know. But I won't do that, okay? So just leave that to me. Let me handle the class, right? I understand, whatever reason you might have for us to just go straight to section 8. But because I've looked at it entirely, I don't want you to make those mistakes again. So take a look at section 1 to 7. Then it will be easier for you to really understand what we have for you around section 8. So that's very important. Okay. Now, so when you take a look at case study, what is it really all about? It's about methods. It's about data. It's about analysis, knowledge. Okay, that's what case study is all about. You need data, and you have been given the data around the exhibit. That's the present. Then, what method are you going to use to carry out those analyses? And you need technical knowledge, to be successful around case study exams. Okay, around case study exam. Okay, somebody is saying we can start from section 8 back to 1. That's funny, right? Okay. Okay, so that's the issue around it. But don't worry, I won't take your time around there. 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, I'll be done. So by 8 o'clock or 8:10, I'll be done. So I'll be looking at my watch, okay? Just to give you some idea around case study. Okay. Now we needed data and technical knowledge around our work experience. But if I'm not working, doesn't mean I can't write case study. The answer is obviously no. Okay, you can go ahead and write case study. That's why you really need to listen attentively. Okay, you really need to listen attentively. Okay, so what is it all about? Why do we still have case study in Ican curriculum? So that would be the background to case study I'm going to be giving you. Okay, now the issue is that chartered accountants today are no longer bookkeepers. Okay, increasingly we are becoming business advisors. Okay, we are becoming business advisors, and as an ACA, our unique selling point is our ability to be able to interpret figures. Okay, so for example, if you pick up a financial statement and let's say revenue increase like what you have seen in Organ Specialist Hospital over the last 3 years, and you give it to a non-accountant, let's say a banker, a marketer, or a lawyer, or an engineer, they will probably tell you, oh, this company is performing because they are increasing revenue year on year. But an accountant, we beg to differ because for me to agree or to conclude that this company is actually performing, I needed to carry out an analysis. The fact that I'm making revenue does not necessarily mean I'm performing. In fact, I might be at the brink of collapse, all right? Because I might be suffering from liquidity issues or profitability issues and all of that. My costs can be unusually high. There might be operational challenges around my strategy. You could see, but if I don't really carry out analysis, how do I get to know? Okay. For example, somebody called me this morning, was asking about a difference between profitability and liquidity. Okay, can a company be profitable and not liquid? And can a company be liquid and not profitable? So that's what you need to know as a chartered accountant. So the examiner really want you to demonstrate that you have that competency around that area to be able to look at financial statement beyond those numbers. You should be able to play around those numbers and interpret the underlying data and communicate to your board if you are writing to your board or to your client, if you work in an auditing firm or a consulting company, all right? So that's the issue around here. So how do you do that? So the only thing they can do is to simulate a real life scenario and try to manipulate it and bring it on in your exam. So that's exactly what you're doing. So your ability to, make the numbers talk is really essential. So that's why I wanted to appreciate that. And that's why you see our case study around here. Okay. So if, for example, you'll be having issues around case study. You've written it before a number of times. You have 15, you have 20, 25. Obviously, you have not been able to carry out a deeper analysis. Your report is lacking quality or technical competence. That skills that is required that you have gotten from your PM, from your FR, from your SFM, or even advanced audit and insurance, taxation, and all of that. You've not really been able to apply them in a real life scenario. So that could be, the issues you have been having, in those times you have been writing case study. And of course, if this is your first time and you've had a lot of stories behind the case, obviously you should not entertain any fear, okay? And you just need to understand the principle and you move on. So the overall aim of Ican case study, is to provide your ability to be able to provide advice in respect of complex business issues in a written report. So if you are given about 13 exhibits, for example, I think you have been given about up to 7 exhibits in a Preseen analysis. So probably you're going to have maybe around 5 or 6 or 7 more to make it around 13, okay, or 14, as the case may be. So all those exhibits, you need to understand them and be able to produce a single report, okay, just one singular report. So that's the issue around that, okay. So, so like I said earlier, it's a real life case, okay. It's a real life case scenario that you need to work on and try to see how you are going to demonstrate your technical ability. When you find yourself in that scenario. Okay, it doesn't really matter whether you're going to practice as a chartered accountant, but what the examiner is really looking for is your ability to, interpret complex financial data and also come up with conclusions and of course analyze now I've told you, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here. I explain, I okay, sorry about that. Please confirm you can hear me before we move on. I guess the network. All right, thank you. So now I was talking about sorry about that, right? I was talking about business awareness, okay? Um, you know, if you are working, you are able to know those internal and of course external issues, around facing the business. You also have to demonstrate technical and functional expertise. What does that mean? I mentioned that earlier. You're able to apply all the learning outcomes, from your ICANN curriculum, what you have been learning, over maybe you start from skills or foundation and even at the professional level. So that's why they will tell you that if you are taking case study, if you are taking, let's say, corporate reporting and maybe SFM, then you're automatically preparing for case study, okay? It's going to be a bad combination, except you are very good in analysis to combine case study with advanced audits and let's say advanced taxation when you have CR and SFM left, okay? So it's going to be quite you might struggle a little bit, especially if you are not really conversant with analysis. But if you are, conversant with analysis, it's fine. And you've seen people writing all the 5 papers at the final stage, and they pass on the case study. So you're wondering what is going on. And you also see people passing all the other 4, and you're having serious issues around case study. So the issue, what is lacking there, is the technical and functional expertise. Okay, and of course, you also have to recognize ethics and professionalism. Okay, you are going to recognize issues around the case scenario. So if you are not able to do that, then if you have, let's say you have read the, Orca Specialist Hospital, you have read those exhibits, and you're still struggling around identifying key issues around there, then something should tell you that you really have a lot of work to do between now and Thursday, okay? Because once you read it, you should be able to, come up with identify some key issues around the case. Then your personal judgment is also very important, making recommendations, adding value. That is exactly what you are doing on Thursday, okay? And personal effectiveness. I normally say something here that you need to improve on your writing skills, okay? Beyond that, you are able to also develop your own idea and maintain, certain skills and attributes. All right. Don't forget, if you look at your exhibit 1, the guy is saying, or the examiner is saying, you must keep abreast of industry, what is happening in the industry. Okay. So that talks about your personal effectiveness. How do you view, the issue around here? Okay. And the examination embraces all of these skills. But obviously, you may not be able to demonstrate all of these skills in the exam, but maybe 50% or 70% of them, is going to see you through. All right. So that's the issue around here. So some tips to passing case study exam. Obviously, this is what I tell people. They don't need to wait until the 2 weeks they release Preseen before you start preparing. I'm sure that's what most people has been doing or they are done. And of course, I even see so many people tell me, "Oh, I just stumbled on your report a week to the exams. A night to the exam, and they just read it overnight and they went into that exam and they passed." Okay, so now it's possible, right? Probably because those guys or that particular person might have been familiar or is writing report in real life. Okay, so it's going to be very easy. So, but not everybody can do that. You may not even be able to assimilate all of those volume of information overnight, and then that's something they call is it information overload and all of that. So that's why uh, I normally say it's important that it's something you have to build over time. Okay, and business case study is actually living with you. I'm sure today you have solved 1 or 2 problems. Somebody has called you. I had this issue. What do you think I should do? How do I go about it? Okay, I'm sure it has happened. Okay, and that is case study. You're able to think and say, oh, do this, do that. And that's exactly what you're doing on Thursday. So it's living with you. It's just your ability to be able to recognize that and, uh, ability to now make conclusions and recommendations around that. So case study exam encompasses the whole of ICAN, even Akim syllabus, of course, because the structure was copied from Akim, all right? And the business case study can be drawn from anywhere, all right? Your SFN, your PM, you could see the Exhibit 7 looking around SFN and a bit of PM. Then you also require corporate reporting, that's the ratio analysis aspect, and more of SFM. For example, investment appraisals, you're going to do that, obviously. You're going to appraise, what's it called, the proposal to establish 100-bed facility in Abuja. We are not doing business valuations, obviously. Mergers and acquisitions not there. Maybe a little bit of finance options, maybe, all right? And for your exam. So if you are past case study, you might need to, or past SFN, you might just need to, review investment appraisals so that you see the issues around that, okay? And of course, read correspondences at workplace and start practicing report writing. This might be too late. I'm not sure. Okay, but if you have that time, you can just read correspondence. I'm sure you don't even want to read correspondence now. Just give us the report. Let's go and read and cram. So that might be the issue, right? Okay, and you also need to be vast in other areas. So it's not really limited to financial analysis alone. For example, risk management, ethical issues, corporate social responsibility. I think risk is going to feature in your case. Ethical issues is constant. Okay. You may not need CSR around here. I don't think anything around CSR will come. Business reporting, obviously, you are doing that. Environmental issues, okay. I don't think that's also going to come. Strategy and operational challenges is going to be embedded in the unseen. Okay. You don't really see that in the preseen. It's going to be really embedded in the unseen. So I've tried to create some operational challenges or strategy issues around the unseen. So probably you're going to see something so similar to what I've created. It's all about thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. So yeah, IT, yeah, you're going to talk about IT. You remember the ERP, okay? Remember the ERP. Sorry, somebody is saying I should mute. Am I not being clear?
We can hear you clearly.
All right, thank you, sir. Let me just respond to the person. Click on join audio, please. Thank you. Okay, the person wrote to me privately. Okay, so we have, I think we'll talk around IT. That's Orga is on operating on manual accounting system, and the board is considering enterprise enterprise resource planning, right? ERP to be implemented. So obviously you might need to have an idea around IT system, but the dimension is going to look like, I'll just tell you so many dimensions the examiner might, bring around IT systems. So I can't go with all of those dimensions. I just have to stick to one for the purpose of this report, but I'll tell you so many options so that you have an idea, all right? So let's move on. Let me try to see if this slide will change. Okay, now let's take a look at format of a good business report. So you need to understand this, okay? You need to understand this, so I don't want to waste time around here. The first thing, is that format? Okay, am I talking about format? Oh, okay, fine, that's brilliant. So the first thing is you need to determine whether I'm writing internal report or external report. Obviously, everybody is aware that this is internal report, probably because I am Joseph Chima from the case scenario in Exhibit 1. I work with Orga Specialist Hospital, and I'm also analyzing the company financial performance. That's Orga Specialist Hospital, where I work with. And my boss has given me some preliminary information to say I needed to draft a report for the board to be addressed to the board, although it's for his attention for his review. Okay, so don't be bothered around that. So that is internal report. It's going to be external report if I work in a consulting firm, for example, or audit firm, and I'm analyzing another company's performance, and it is not going to be my management that will act on the report I'm writing. Okay, I'm writing it for the consumption of another company's management. So that's external. So I don't need to bother you about that. But obviously, I don't think anybody will have a contrary opinion to say organ specialist hospital is not an internal report. But I know the way our student will think that maybe in the unseen, the examiner will just change the complexity of the question and it now turns to be external report. If it turns to be external report, come and collect my 1 month salary, okay? Because sometimes I have to talk that way to show you the level of confidence that I have around here, okay? So it's never going to be external reporting. The exhibit 1 already tells us everything about that. So once it's internal report, then I start with my cover page. How does it look like? So this is your title or cover page. So the very first page of my answer script is going to be my cover page. I will not write cover page on the top, okay? So this is external. So don't let me waste time around external. So let me just go to internal because that's what we are doing. Although I've done that for you, but I want you to understand the basis. So just write organ specialist hospital, then to the board, okay? So you have to find out in the unseen, okay? Your boss would have told you, draft a report for my attention to be addressed to the board. So here you say to the board of directors, not to the managing director, as you are seeing on this example, okay? Then report on financial performance and evaluation of strategic business proposal. So this will work for Orga. this title is going to work. Then when you come to prepared by, you have two options, okay? You can either write the name of your boss, okay, or the name of your department, all right? So here, the name of your department is the, I think, finance and admin, is it finance and admin department? So I really prefer to write the name of department. That's why you always see me writing the name of the department. But if you like, you can write, is it Deborah Iwalola? That is your direct boss, okay? If you like, prepared by on your cover page. But I would really prefer you just put the name of your department. Then the date you are writing, listen to me here. The date you are writing must relate to the date in the case, okay? So you are not writing May 6, 2021, except it's a coincidence. So you are going to check the date an email was sent to you by your boss. For example, it's going to be around March, maybe March 16 or March, whatever, okay? So if the examiner said March 10, for example, 2021, so just add about 2 or 3 days to that date and call it maybe March 15, 2021. So don't write May 6. It has to be, related to the case scenario. Then, for internal report, disclaimer is not compulsory. Okay, it's not compulsory. So after the date, you might decide to close it that way. Okay, but if you must write disclaimer because of people that will cram, I'm trying to balance my lecture for people that will read to understand and for people that will cram. So whichever one. Okay. So if you are cramming, for example, and after you have crammed all of this, you just remember your A. There is always a disclaimer. So that's why I put that for you. Just say this report is for internal use only. Okay. So if it is an external report, that's why you start writing that this report is for the consumption of blah 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 and all of that, and we will accept no liability for any third party that might place the land. So we don't do that here because this is internal report. Okay. So don't start saying we will accept no liability. No, don't shoot yourself in the leg. Okay. Like I will tell you a lot of stories here. Okay, or as we move on, you'll see a lot of reports flying around and you see people writing disclaimer, even as an header, you're on your own. Don't shoot yourself in the leg. Must you write disclaimer? Is it a must? Is it disclaimer that will make you to get 50? Or is it disclaimer you're going to write in that exam? I don't understand. So why are you bothered about disclaimer? So whether you write it or not, you are going to pass the exam. So, but if care is not taken, you can use disclaimer to destroy the whole of your reports. You can use it because by the time you are saying the result, the performance you have done, you cannot place reliance on it. That is disclaimer. You are on your own. You have simply destroyed that report. It's as simple as that. So because I'm writing internal report, just simply say this report is an internal use only. All right. This report is an internal. So you move on. You could see what I wrote in brackets. This is not compulsory. Don't write that one in the exam. I'm just saying this. A lot of people that will cram, they don't care. You want to cram everything. So that one in bracket, I said, this is not compulsory. So don't put that in the exam, okay? So I'm kidding, right? I play a lot, right? If I use my lecture. Okay. Then page 2 of my answer script is my executive summary. Okay. But I can't write the executive summary, probably because I've not written the report. The only time you can decide to write your executive summary immediately once you get to the exam and you read the unseen, you go straight to the requirements, and it's so similar to what I've taught you here. Then what are you waiting for? Just go ahead, okay? Just go ahead because you already know the result, of the report, okay? But if it's slightly different, I'm sure it's not going to be materially different. Then you might just exercise a little bit of caution, okay? You might just exercise. So your page 2 and 3 is my executive summary. But if I were you, I will leave 3 pages for my executive summary. If you write 3 pages, you are not going to be penalized. But don't ever write 4 pages. By the time you start writing 4 pages on your executive summary, it's as good as you're writing a report. Don't forget, your executive summary is the condensed version of the entire report. Okay. Then I go to my page 4, which is my introduction. This is where my report will start. Don't forget, it's at the back of those pages. Okay. So I'm talking about page. I'm not saying sheet. They are different. A sheet contains 2 pages. So listen to my my words properly. Okay. So I'm talking about page. So what it means is if my page 1 is my cover page, the back of that cover page, that's where my executive summary will start from. Is that okay? So that's how you write. Then I go to my introduction. So because I've not done my analysis, I may not also start my introduction. But if you are very skillful, that's why I needed to take you this. You need to be very smart in that exam. Don't start going to your appendix and start working without starting the report. Okay, I will tell you how it is. Then I will tell you how you can manage your time. How it is you quickly do your cover page, list 2 pages or 3 for executive summary, then go to page 4 or page 5, you write your introduction. You now go to appendix and start working. That is how it's supposed to be done. But if you are very smart, don't go that way. What do? You do your cover page immediately. Then, if you've seen that the unseen is very similar to what we have predicted, then start your executive summary. Okay, you may not finish it. At least start your scope and objectives, method of what's it called, analysis, and all of that. Even some of your findings. You start your reservation, your assumption. Quickly do it. Then your introduction. When you get to that page, do your introduction again. Okay, do it up to maybe when you now get to financial analysis. Then you now quickly go to appendix. In fact, if you are very smart, as you are doing your ratios, doing your trend, come back to the report, be writing. Don't say, let me finish the whole computation and come back here. This organ specialist hospital has a lot of computation. If you don't forget, this is not SFM. This is not corporate reporting. That's why I have to send that report earlier so that you sit on it and choose the computation you are going to do. If you are stuck in that computation and you are not able to write report, forget it. It's as simple as that. Okay? It's as simple as that. Listen to me. You are writing reports on Thursday. You are not doing computation. Unfortunately, you needed those computation to analyze. That is the unfortunate thing there. Although it's not really unfortunate, but if you are very slow in writing, then you need to brace up at this point, okay? You need to really brace up. So that's what you do. You just have to be very smart about it. But always remember that I told you that you must write reports. You are not just writing, you must write it well, okay? You must write it well. So if you want to spend all your time in your computation as if you are writing SFM or corporate reporting, you're on your own. No, nobody is marking that computation. If you have been in my lecture before, I would have told you that if you do appendix 1, you have successfully scored 1 mark. That is it. If you are able to do 5 appendix, that is 5 marks. Maximum you can get in your appendix, probably because of the volume of computation, is 10 marks. That's the maximum, okay? I was trained on Ican marking scheme. So I'm telling you from the reality. I'm telling you the reality here. So why am I wasting time around my appendices? Okay. So you have to be very sharp and very smart around this area. Okay. So you could see I'm very passionate about that. So that's why I paused to tell you a lot of things. I'll just say it again when we get into the main analysis. I come to my cover page. So this is the content. When I'm doing my introduction, I must do 2 things. You link it to the mail that was sent to you, and you load it with the requirement in the case. Okay, you link it with the email that was sent to you, and you load it with the requirement. Somebody is asking me, is it compulsory to write internal memorandum? Of course, it's compulsory. Yes, it's compulsory because that will indicate that this is an internal report. It's as simple as that. It's compulsory. Okay. Now, in my introduction, so that's what you are doing. For example, sequel to the mail sent to me, you quote the date on May 4, 2021, where I am required to carry out financial analysis of our company's performance. That's what you're writing. Okay. This report contains, at that point, pick up the requirements and just supply the examiner. You just link it, with certain conjunctions and all of that. Okay. Then after then, by the time you do that, don't write lengthy paragraphs. Okay. 4, 5 lines is okay, or 6 maximum for your paragraph. Then you go to the next paragraph. Similarly, or in addition, furthermore, you need to learn paragraph linkers. Okay. You need to learn paragraph linkers. Listen to me here. Let's say, for example, in your paragraph 1, you have said, sequel to the mail sent to me on May 1, 2015, when I'm required to carry out the financial analysis of our company. This report contains analysis of revenue streams, costs, and overhead. Okay, that's what you said in paragraph 1. You now come to paragraph 2. You now said, however, the report also consider you are on your home. Why are you saying however? So you need to learn how to use those paragraph linkers. When you say however, that means you are departing from whatever you're saying. You have been saying something positive, you want to say something negative. Or you have been saying something negative, you want to say something positive. That's when you use however, okay? So you have to learn that. So for example, you can say also, you can say besides. Besides means in addition, okay? Therefore, hence, and all of that. Moreover, okay? So you need to learn all of that. If you see my report, you see I use a lot of that to start paragraphs, okay? So that's what you're doing. So what I not normally advise is this: listen, apply professional skepticism. immediately after your introduction, okay? You will not write it as an header. Listen, you will not write it as an header. If you remember, in the summarized report I have sent to you, I wrote professional skepticism as an header. I deliberately did that, okay? What I sent to you is a classic way of writing reports. If you see, you just go straight to the point in bullet form, okay? Even though the examiner is not expecting you to write, in fact, I won't even advise you to write that way, because in fact, if you write that way, almost you might score 99. That's the truth. You might score 99%. And yeah, I'm serious. If you write that way, but you can't write that way, right? Because even the examiner might be intimidated. Why are you writing this way? Okay. But if you check those contents, you see that they are very powerful. Okay. And the way I've presented it. So anybody that sees that, then you can also use it for your revision, so that all those points can come into your memory. Then you can now write them in narrative form. So I'm going to give you the full report as it's supposed to be in the exam. Okay. So I just deliberately write professional skepticism and wider context so that you can see it in that summarized report. But in the main report, just separate it by paragraph, okay? Or just present it by paragraph. Professional skepticism is the attitude of the mind that something somewhere may be wrong. So you might need to know a number of them, okay? So meanwhile, the reason why you cannot put professional skepticism under an header is because it can feature anywhere, okay? In your report, it can feature anywhere in your report. It's not limited to your main report. In fact, you can even put it under under executive summary. Okay, then also consider wider business issue. That's what they call wider context. I think I've been able to identify one for you in that case. Okay, so that's what you are doing. So can you see now that this section is very important? Even if you are listening to this lecture before, it's going to be what's it called? A kind of reminder for you. Okay, so you are not doing something else on Thursday. Okay, so that's it. Then business analysis. Listen to me here. I will still say it when I get into the main report, but I may not dwell much on it because I have addressed the issue here. If the examiner did not ask you specifically to analyze using business model, okay, if he did not ask you specifically, don't even go there. Don't start using pestle. I've seen a lot of people saying it is Potter's 5 diamond, it is five forces and all of that. You're on your own, okay? The most suitable model for Olga Specialist Hospital is SWOT analysis, okay? You can pick it up with me. It is the most suitable. Go and check it out. It is the most suitable model, okay? However, don't use SWOT, okay? If it is not required in the case, okay? If it is not required in the case, don't bother to use it. Don't bother to use it. Now, listen to me here. Listen to me here. I used SWOT analysis in the main report. Listen, I used SWOT analysis in the main report. I deliberately did that in case you get to the exam hall on Thursday and the examiner, in part of your requirement, has asked you to use SWOT so that it will be easier for you to remember. That was why I used it, okay? So if you get there and nothing indicates that you should use SWOT or any business model, don't even go there. If you do it, it doesn't mean you are going to fake case study. It simply means that you successfully score 0 because it is not part of the requirements, okay? And you would have wasted your time doing that SWOT. The time you should have used to go and carry out a fantastic financial analysis, you are using it on SWOT. So that is it. That is it. So that's why you see there, I said, use business model only when it is stated in the requirement. If you have listened to my lecture, I've told you earlier that I contended with the chief examiner on this issue. To mark business model or when people use a SWOT. And he told me simply because it is not in the requirement. But I have to do this, I don't know what is in the unseen. We are just trying to preempt the examiner. So in case they bring it on, they might want to shock you. So that was why I have to do business analysis, okay? That was why I have to do business analysis. Somebody is asking, where does ethical issues come in the body of the report? Ethical issue can feature anywhere, but if you like, you can decide to put it up as one of the headings. You're going to find it here now very shortly on the content of this business report. Then the next thing is my financial analysis, okay? And this is basically your requirement 1. That is what you are doing. That's my business analysis. Other specific requirements in the case that you have not addressed, then you have ethical issue. Can you see? That was your question. So you can decide to bring it on here. Ethical issues, you bring it on, okay? then other matters that you have not addressed, then you make conclusions, recommendation, closing remark, that's your sincerely, then your appendices. So this is the structure of your report. If you can remember all of this, almost that is it. And you write fantastic. Sorry, I was saying, sorry about that, right? I'm just sorry about that. So if you can remember all of this, right? Hey, that'll be fine, right? Okay. Now section 3, writing case study reports. So this is example. So for example, you have this requirement. How do you write? Can you see the cover page over there and how you do your introduction? So I don't need to waste time on all of this. So that's how you write. So I don't need to waste time. Now, these are examples of professional skepticism. Okay, identify other possible sources of getting information. Identify the fact that unaudited financial statements are less reliable. Remember, you are using what's it called, management accounts, and by default, management accounts are not audited. Okay, you might bring it to the attention of the board that you are using management accounts which are not audited, so they are less reliable. If you like, you can bring it on. Okay, you are not shooting yourself in the leg. You are just trying to play safe, okay? Because they are going to take critical decision on that analysis. So you need to bring it to their attention that this is unaudited, okay? Okay, so that's the issue there. So that's the issue there. That's the issue there. Industry comparative data not given might also be um, an issue, okay? Somebody saying you only give us format for FSA. What about FDA? Can you put that in full meaning? Because I can interpret it so many ways, okay? Can you write it in full? Let me understand what you're saying. Then market share, okay? Market share, market share, market size. Listen, even if market size is not given, you also mention it, but market size was given in oil gas specialist hospital. So that's why you cannot be dogmatic when you are preparing for case study. If you have read a report and they are saying they have extensive professional skepticism, and they are saying market size was not given. I will show you. Market size was given, or market share was not given. Okay, market share was not given. So you can pick it up from that. Okay. Let me look at this. How are we to know we are to do? I said it earlier. It will be stated in the requirement. Okay. It will be stated. If you check from November, from I think May 2018, no, November 2017 backward, is always on requirement 1. I can't drifted away from May 2018. They start asking financial analysis in requirement 1. Okay, so you always see there. Now another way they can say you should use a SWOT is to probably ask you to use appropriate business model to analyze the strength and weakness, or or the operational issues of the company. That's another way they can coin it in that manner. Okay, if they didn't ask you directly. Okay, so that's it. You only give us format for financial statement analysis. What about financial data analysis? Is in the report that I gave now. Financial data is there. There is no particular format for financial data. Okay, there's no particular format. It depends on the information that we have. Financial data is wide. Okay, it's wide. You have NPV, you have product mix, you have which other one, dividend valuation. It's so wide. In fact, if you pick the whole of your SFN, that's financial data. Any other thing outside your P or L, your what's it called, notes to the accounts, and cash flow statement and balance sheet is financial data. So it's wide. It's a wide. So you can't really get a format for that. Okay. So, but in the organ specialist hospital, we have already seen the direction of the financial data. So I can't give. The only thing is we can work. We can work around that. We can just work around it. So there is no particular structure, for financial data. I think I've answered that. Okay. So that is it. So we need to move away from here. So professional skepticism, I just gave an example here on how to write. So I think you must have seen it in the advanced information that I gave to you. Okay. So those are just examples. So business analysis, I've told you, is only when it is required in the case. So you present your data just like this internal distress opportunity. But I've told you why I have to do that. Okay. Why I have to do that. Okay. Then you must also demonstrate analytical skills. That's why you have to do revenue trend changes and all of that, increase or decrease in payables and all. You see, so those are your analytical skills. Okay, and let's look at section 5, financial analysis. I'll spend a little more time, about 5 minutes here. Okay, I'm looking at the time so I don't exceed my I already have timing for everything. Okay, let me look at this question, please. Is it the first page of the summarized report you sent? Executive summary, yes. Why did it start with you? No. I didn't do executive summary in the summarized report. I didn't. It's not there. Okay. I just finished doing the executive summary this evening. I have done it, but I looked at it again. Okay. I just found out. So it's not there at all. It's not there at all. Executive summary will always have a title. Okay. So it's not there. Okay. It's just like I said, the summarize just for you to guys to familiarize yourself with it. When I come to financial analysis, be with me here. When I come to financial analysis, I needed four things. I needed four exhibits, or I needed four information where like a source document for me to carry out effective financial analysis. Number one, income statement, my statement of financial position, and the notes to the account, and cash flow statement. Obviously, we only have the three in August Specialist Hospital. The only one that was added was budget. Okay, was budget. Budget is part of financial data analysis, but it was added in. It was we were given in 2020. What the examiner is telling you is going to bring on 2020's account in the unseen. Okay, as part of the unseen. So that's why he has given us yeah that's why he has given us budget. Okay, that's why he has given us budget. Somebody is asking, where do we find requirements in the case? I will show you when we get there. Okay, when we get there. Title page can be internal memorandum. Yeah, that's where you start from now. You will not write title page. So the very first page of your answer script is your title page. Okay, that's where you start from. Just the structure of the report. You don't need to struggle. Okay, it's just the way I'm going to give you the report. Just follow that structure. Okay, now when I'm analyzing financial statements, I would do four things. I can use four things. Okay, I can use ratio analysis, I can use trend, common size, and working capital. Obviously, I may not be able to do all of this in exam. Okay, but most of them are uh, most of them. Uh, please just be patient. Let me finish this. If you keep asking questions, you delay us, okay? So let me pick up this last question. I want to answer a question again. Just keep listening. Okay, you might get, even if you don't get it here, when I get to the main analysis, you might get it. Okay, please, can we conclude that this person does not have requirements yet? Of course, the examiner cannot give you the requirement ahead of time. Never, they can't. If they have given you the requirement, then why are you here? You won't be here now. Everybody has seen the requirements. So that's why you see solution, a suggested solution flying up and down. Okay, so it's not there. Now, uh, so as I was saying, you needed ratios to carry out financial analysis. The ratio, you always do that. Trend, you do trend for the income statement, but if you look at the income statement, because it's management account, is very much okay. So I'll just advise you select key ones that you want to do to save time, okay? But you have to do it, okay? To save time, but you have to do it to save time. Then, but for revenue streams, once the examiner asks you to analyze revenue stream, you don't have choice. You just have to do trend for your revenue streams. So you can now allocate the cost immediately, the way I've done, if you have checked that, and also get your contribution to profit and contribution margin. So that I just use one dashboard to bring out all those issues. Then your common size, I think I did something like overhead to revenue. If you can see that cost to revenue, that is your common size analysis. Common size analysis. Okay. Now, so the issue now is just select, key issues in that income statement for your common size. Don't do trend for balance sheet, or you are wasting time. Don't even go there. But when you do your ratios, you might decide to pick up ratio that will affect your balance sheet. For example, current ratio, gearing ratio, and all of that. Okay, so you might decide to pick it up, but don't go there and start doing trend for your balance sheet. Okay, so that is it. So don't forget that you need to carry out great financial analysis. That is what you are doing, great financial analysis. Okay, Now, let me just quickly explain what you do in your financial analysis, then I move away. We are doing four things. Number one, tell the examiner what has happened. If, for example, if we are analyzing revenue, is it increasing or decreasing? That's number one. Number two, what is the reason for that increase or decrease? Now, listen, for every interpretation, we have our 4 marks. Okay. If you say revenue increased from 5% to 10% between 2015 and 2016, and you mention that on and on, you have just scored half mark out of that four. Okay. Now you need to explain why it has increased or decreased, and that attracts 2.5 marks. So if you have been writing case study and you failed, what it means is you have not been able to explain the reason, okay, why there's an increase or decrease. And that's exactly what you're doing in your financial analysis. If my revenue has increased, is it that I'm a market leader? Is it the quality of my product or service that's making it to increase? Okay, so that are always the reasons why it has increased. So you have to tell them. If it's coming down, you also tell them. Then number three, what is the business impact? Okay, what is the business impact? Okay, is it going to improve my operation? Will it, enable me to have more cash? Okay, so you say that, then you can now suggest way to improve or sustain that increase. Okay, if it is decrease, you have to suggest ways to improve. If it is increase, you suggest ways to sustain. So that's what you're doing. Those are the four things you must do as you write. Okay, but out of those four, the last one is not compulsory every time. Okay, that is the recommendation. It's not compulsory every time. So your recommendation can still feature in the main body, just slight recommendation. Then you can now pull all of them out and develop them in your main recommendation. So that's what you're doing. So I don't want to waste time around that. So I don't need to. So my executive summary, let me quickly say one or two things here. I think I've said it earlier. It's the condensed version of your main report. Okay, it's the condensed version of your main report. So what is this saying? You need to be able to summarize your main report in a manner that's going to be standing alone. Okay, so that when your reader reads your executive summary, they don't need to go back to the main report to understand what is there. So that's the challenge, and this constitutes about 20 marks, okay, of the total mark. Your requirement one is 32, your requirement two is 32 marks. That's 64 already. Then you have executive summary 20 marks. That is 84. Then you have ethics, ethical issues, 10 marks. So what's remaining? So that is it. So so if I have about 6 months that is remaining, and I want to go and die under my appendix, I've told you. So that's it. I've told you. It's not I must do table of content. Some people will also ask me, I will write brief history about the company. I don't understand. Like, it's not staying anywhere in my memory or in my brain. How? I am writing about August Specialized Hospital. I work with them. I'm writing to the board of Auga, and I'm telling them when Auga started, what they are into. How does that make sense? I don't understand. So you see a lot of reports flying around about August. I don't understand. You're wasting time. Okay? You're wasting time. Now, when you're writing your executive summary, don't forget, you must not use the word, what's it called? First person pronoun. Okay? For example, I, we, you, and all of that. You can use that in the main report. If you listened to me earlier, when I was talking about introduction, I said, stick it to the mail sent to me where I am required. Do you see that? Hi. But when you get to executive summary, you don't do that. This report contains, that's how you start. This report contains analysis of, you start writing on and on. So don't use the word how are we, high, and all of that, okay, in your executive summary. So you must be able to summarize what has happened. Listen to me again. You don't carry out analysis in your executive summary. You are only reporting what has happened. So don't start telling the examiner revenue increased by 20% again in the executive summary. Okay? I'm just telling the examiner, for example, what's it called? The analysis carried out showed that all ratios declined throughout the 4-year period, except for maybe what I've done, current ratio, that increased slightly between 2018 and 2019. That's what you're telling it. You're just reporting on the result. Okay, you're just reporting on the result. You continue. The continued increase in cost has eroded the profit for the year. That's what you're writing. So whatever you have, find out, that's what you're writing in your executive summary. So I think that should summarize everything around it. So in my executive summary, I am doing 6 things: scope and objectives, reservations, assumptions, summary of key findings, conclusions, and recommendations. That's the 6 things I'm doing. So you're going to see in the report by the time I show you, okay? You're going to see it in the report by the time I show you that, okay? Then so I think that would be okay. I think I have some examples of the summary here, but I won't be able to go in there because of time. Okay, because of time. So exactly this is a diagrammatic representation of what you are doing on your executive summary. Okay, sorry. So can you see purpose of the report, methods, the assumptions, reservation, key findings, summary of conclusions, summary of your recommendation. So that's what you're doing. Now, what I still have some examples there, so time is not going to permit me, to take a look at this. So these are life executive. Can you say margin risk report? These are life executive summary that I did, personally. There was a time I also analyzed, Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement using SWOT analysis. So this was the executive summary I wrote to the board of my company where I work with, right? So I just extracted, tried to manipulate it a little bit and bring it up here. But there is no time for me to look into that. Now, the last section before, sorry, we go to the main business of today. Um, let me tell you about some key consideration. Sorry, some key consideration. You have issues, you have options, professional skepticism, analysis, evaluation, professional judgment, conclusions, and recommendations. All of these must feature as you write issues. Okay, issues around revenue streams. What are the options that we have? Exercise professional skepticism, analytical skills. You must also demonstrate the ability to evaluate. That's evaluation, judgment. You place an hammer on management decision. You should be able to do all of this. Okay, I won't be able to go deeper here again. Maybe when I'm, showing you those reports, I'll show you how all of these key considerations feature in that report. See, if you can really do this on Thursday, you can't come back and write case study. It's not possible. Okay, so the breakdown of all of them are here, but obviously I won't be able to go into that. So we are going straight to the main business of today. So in case you're just getting on, that's fine. We're meant to start at 8 before now, but this is 8:17, so we are still right on time. So I'm going to take about 5 to 10 minutes. I'm seeing a lot of question flying on the chat room. So let me see whether I can quickly address them before I move on. Because listen, once I address this question, I will not answer. I will not answer uh any question about, hey, where should my executive summary be? This. No, I won't answer again. Any other question I'm going to answer after now is going to be strictly on the case. Okay, it's going to be strictly on the case. So that's why I took time to really ask, do what I just did. Okay, so that's why I took time to do this. Someone is asking me to take water. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So let me take a look at your question. So the budget figures for 2020 using summarized report was just added by you. I didn't use budget figure in 2020. Okay. I told you earlier that they gave us that budget because they are going to give you the actual. Okay, you can't use budget to analyze. I've told you, a budget is financial data. Okay, it's not financial analysis. It's not part of financial. What you use for financial analysis is financial data. So for me to analyze, I needed the actual for 2020. I will now do what we call variance analysis to see whether I meet those budgets or otherwise. Is that okay? So what I used in that summarized report was that I predicted my own actual for 2020. You've not seen it. It's not with you, but you're going to see it tonight. You're going to get a copy tonight. Is that okay? Somebody saying network. Hey, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Don't worry, get the recorded video. Still on the trend analysis. You didn't say anything here? Okay. Please answer this at a convenient time. Why did you not analyze equipment income? Is it not among revenue stream? Is a very straight answer, although I'm still coming there. equipment income. You can analyze it if you want to do, but there was no cost attached to equipment income. Go and look at it. There was no cost. If you look at the notes to the account, they only gave us for theater, laboratory, pharmaceutical, and all of that. There was no cost attached to that. That was why I did not analyze. But if you like, you can analyze. That means when you're analyzing your revenue streams, you won't be able to get contribution to profit and contribution margin. It's as simple as that. Even if you are going to get contribution margin, that means you are using the raw income on the total revenue. That's what you're saying, okay? Which is not possible. Which is not possible. So that is it. That is it. Okay. Uh, okay, somebody's saying let's wait for me to conclude. Okay. Is there idea to select key items in the balance sheet, such as why not? You can select it if you have that time. But I have shouted. Mutipariwo. I'm saying it in Yoruba again. What's the Igbo Mutipariwo? What's the Hausa? Let me say everything in all language. Hey, don't be carried away by computations. I'm saying it, okay? Everything you think of is correct. Like, oh, can I select free item in my balance sheet? Can I do this? Everything is correct, but make sure you are smart about it, okay? Make sure you are smart about it. Thank you. Okay, let me see whether I can pick up one or two more questions. Where will table of content comes in? If you do table of content, you just score 0. There is no mark that is attached to table of content. I have shouted. Go with that format I've given you. It's as simple as that. If somebody has told you that a past case study and you ask the person, what did you do? And the person said, I did table of content. Then ask yourself, was it table of content that made the person to pass? So you want to be saying executive summary, page 1, introduction, page 2, financial analysis, page 4. That will make you to pass case study? I don't understand. I don't understand, okay? If you do it, that's fine. I don't have issue with that, okay? But you don't need to do, because when I looked at Ican, what's it called, marking scheme, I didn't see where they put a table of content. It's not there, okay? So we have done it. Nobody will penalize you, okay? You're just wasting time doing it. It's as simple as that, okay? But even in practice, you can do it, okay? But for exams, you don't need it, okay? But if you want to do it, that will be fine. I won't tell you where it's supposed to be because I'm not a fan of our table of content, okay? Somebody is also saying there is no table of content in the report. I think I've answered that. Please, we hope you will release those materials for us. Of course, the minute hour of the class, 10:45, you will get everything so that I can go and sleep. Please, I don't understand how you come about common size, and I will do it now. We'll do it. You'll soon get there. In your report, you kept saying receivable decrease. I kept wondering, receivables, right? Really? Did I even touch receivables? I'm not sure. Okay, don't worry, maybe because you've not seen the unseen. Then let's see. Can you explain computation? We'll get there, we'll get there. Can we stay to the board of directors of Oga Specialist Hospital? Yeah, sure. Please, what's the numbering format? Numbering, okay, I'll use the appendix to teach you numbering. Then you can also number your pages from your cover page, okay? So I think Ican would have numbered. You can still do your own numbering, okay? Just stop at wherever you stopped. Okay. Now, most of your questions, I've told you I will address. I've seen some questions I'm not going to address now. Let's get to those computations, then we are going to address them. Is that okay? Now, let me see. Let me see what I can do here. Remember to exercise professional skepticism, okay? Ethical issue is key. Endeavor to present your executive summary and don't waste time in your appendix. So these are the 4 messages I have for you on this in this session, and I wish you the very best. Okay. Now let's go to the real issue for today and what we have been waiting for. Let me try to see whether I can put the slides side by side. Let me see whether it's going to come up. Oh, okay. I think it's coming up. Thank you. Yeah, brilliant. Okay. All right. Aha. So this is the main case. So we are ready now to go, and you have to be with me here. I will not attend to your question. I've said it. I'm going to finish everything So I might miss out your question. I think I said that earlier on. In case I miss it out, just you can chat me up. I'm going to address your question. So just listen to me. Listen. I know you have 1 questions you want to ask. Okay, but listen to me. Most likely, some of them is going to be addressed. Okay, some of them is going to be addressed. So just allow me to do this. Okay. Okay, so just calm down. Let me do this. Now, this is what I can send. Exhibit 1 talks about you, Joseph Chima, and your employer, Olga Specialist Hospital. So that emphasizes the fact that it's an internal report. Then, Exhibit 2 was talking about healthcare in Nigeria, opportunities and challenges. So you might wonder, why are they bringing this? Remember, you must use at least one information in all the exhibits when you are writing your case. So that means you can't ignore exhibit 2, right? Because it's talking about healthcare structure in Nigeria. The exhibit 3 talks about Olga Specialist Hospital Limited, about the company itself. Do we have any information that we use in exhibit 3? We are going to find out. Then the exhibit 4 is talking about the hospitals limited information system, okay, what they do currently, okay, all right, and let's see. Then 5 is talking about this Olga Specialist Hospital Limited management account for 2017 to 2019 and 2020 budgets, okay. The correspondences between myself, on that Thursday, we are going to be bearing Joseph Chima, all right, and my boss, Deborah Iwalola. And Exhibit 7 talks about summary of capital budget. Now, listen, ICANN will never give you financial data information in advance. Go and check the previous, the previous cases, okay, from November 2019. They will never give you, but they have decided to give us here. They know what they are doing. And it's because you have too much information, too much computation to do. So that's why they provided it ahead of time, okay? But the question now is, are they going to manipulate it? I'm going to give you a whole lot of scenarios that you might expect on Thursday. But like I said earlier, or as I said earlier, I can't do all those scenarios. I just have to stick to whatever my memory is telling me, okay? Or my mind is telling me. Now look at Exhibit 1. Now, if you are very smart, you know that this Exhibit 1 lies the requirement in the case, okay? Now, look at bullet 1. It says, preparing detailed financial analysis and report on performance. That is my requirement 1. But the examiner can decide to go in any dimension. It can say analyze revenue streams, cost and overhead. It can say analyze profitability, liquidity, and the position of the company. It can take it to anywhere. Whatever he has told you is the same, okay? Whatever he has told you is the same. So that is your requirement 1. He now says, in analyzing that financial statement, you must be able to identify areas of weaknesses and provide likely solutions to correct the anomaly. Be with me here. If the examiner should say, analyze financial performance and identify areas of weakness, they are not asking me to use SWOT. Hello? They are not talking about SWOT. So the fact that I've seen areas of weakness and start saying, oh, they want me to look at strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, you are on your own. What the guy is saying is this. When you perform ratio analysis will only tell me where the problem is, but it will never tell me what is causing the problem. It will also tell me where I am performing, but it will never tell me why I was performing. So that's why in that bullet 2, it's saying identify areas of weaknesses. How do I do that? I perform ratio analysis so that I can see areas of weakness. And I also look at why am I weak in that area so that I can provide solution to correct the anomaly. That's what this guy is saying. So bullet 1 and bullet 2 is still my requirement 1. I go to bullet 3. It said, assessing operational and strategic business proposal. The examiner already gave me a flashlight. What is the business proposal? We want to establish 100-bed facility in Abuja. Can you see? What are the operational issues that I'm having currently? Don't forget, moving out of Lagos into Abuja is a strategic move. What are the issues around that? That is what the examiner expected to develop and be able to do on Thursday, to see how each align. Can you see how they align, okay, with the hospital's objectives and their impact on the business and financial risk, okay? What is the financial risk around here? What if I lose my investment? Can you see? What if I lose my investment in Abuja? Probably because I'm anticipating, oh, I will see patients and all of that, but I did not see it. How about those competitors are in Abuja metropolis? Okay, financial risk. I'm exposed to financial risk by doing that venture. Another issue is this. It said its impact on business. Number two thing is this. You may not have heard this from anywhere. My current management team, do they have the technical skills or the expertise to operate a national hospital in Abuja? Okay, don't forget, our strength has been in Lagos. We are operating 3 unit hospitals in Lagos, but can we operate outside Lagos? Can we undo it? Can our current operation undo that? I'm already giving you flashlight. All of these things I'm saying, you can't see everything in my report. It's not possible. In fact, the way I'm doing this analysis now, a lot of points are coming to my head again. And it's looking as if I should go back and do adjustment to that report. But obviously I cannot. So that's why this lecture is necessary. So you can be putting down 1 or 2 things that forms part of your analysis on Thursday. Okay. Obviously I can't write everything in that report. Okay. So that is it. Do they have the required expertise to carry out, that strategy? What's it called? To establish 100-bed facility. The fact that we are doing well in Lagos is not sufficient for us to do well outside Lagos. That's how a business person or a strategic thinker will think. Okay. And don't forget, I already gave you a background when I started this lecture to say the examiner wants to see that you have the ability to analyze complex business issues and you come out with solutions, and you provide solutions and recommendations. That's what the examiner is looking out for. Can you see? Only exhibit 1 alone, I am already telling you, okay? I am already telling you the whole of that case, what you are doing, okay? What you are doing, okay? So that's the issue here. Then bullet 4 is saying, assessing the hospital's financial and business forecast. The examiner can decide to give you financial projection around the unseen. He has not given me, okay? So I've already developed a one for you, and it will form part of your what's it called, requirement 2, to see whether we can, every business will normally have forecast, okay? That's a projection around our income, cost, and all of that, okay? So it say you should also be able to assess together with the assumption, okay? You also agree with me that the capital budget, also, you can say that's also a forecast, okay? To look at the assumption, you're able to assess and form judgment and recommendation, okay? One of the key issues around the capital budget is that there are a lot of irrelevant cash flows. That is it. That is a recommend, okay? You make recommendation around maybe probably recomputing the NPV. When I get there, I'll talk more about that, okay? Then drafting report to the finance and administration director to be submitted to the board. Did you see that? So that's why in my cover page, I will say to the board, you don't address it to your boss. It's going to pass through your boss for him to review. That's how you write in practice, okay? You address it to whoever is going to straight up, okay? Meanwhile, it's going to go through your boss for him to review because it's a draft report. That's why I said drafting report. Can you see? Here alone, we have seen our recommendation. We have seen our requirement. So when you're now analyzing, what's it called? Proposal to establish 100 facility, bed facility or whatever in Abuja, you now talk about commercial, ethical issues and all of that needs to be considered. Okay, I think they are putting that up around impact on business and financial risk. Okay, exhibit 2. What is this telling me? I just want to analyze it for you. Maybe I've read it. In fact, some people have not even read it before they come to this class. Or maybe you have read it, you don't even understand. Maybe this will help you. Okay, I will not waste time. I've tried to highlight key areas that I want to show you. Look at healthcare in Nigeria. It said, according to the World Bank, just look at where I have highlighted. 3.6% of Nigeria's GDP is spent on healthcare, thereby putting the healthcare market, that is the market size. Can you see? That is the market size I was saying. So if you go ahead and state the examiner, the market size data were not given. You see now, you are your own, because it said putting the healthcare market, both public and private, at approximately $4.6 billion. That is the size of the market. It now says again, currently, 66% of the country's 34,000 health facilities are owned and run by the government. Can you say 66% are owned by the government? But there's a problem around that. Even though most of those hospitals are owned by the run by the government, but the question is, are they effective? Okay, so that's it. That's it. So you might pick up issues around there when you are trying to do your analysis. Okay, now look at what I highlighted here. I'll just go straight to what I've highlighted. These are the issues that will help you in doing your analysis. The private health sector account for 70 to 75% of the total. Can you see? Now, can you see what they are saying here? Despite the fact that the government owns 60%, meanwhile, the expenditure, okay, that account for about 75 to 75% of the total expenditure in the country goes to the private. Can you see now? That is wider business issue. That might explain the reason why we have been having continued increase in revenue and probably profit over the years. That is it. That is wider context. Okay. Now, look at the structure of Nigerian public health. So this one is just telling me the structure we have. We have the tertiary, we have the secondary, and of course we have the primary. Okay. However, if you look at that last statement here, it said, however, critics of these three-tier structure argue that it has resulted into budgetary leakages, overlap, inefficiencies, and blame passing. Okay, so that's critics around it. So maybe that might also be a pointer to you to look into in case you are, doing your analysis. Now, look at this next paragraph. It said, generally, the healthcare system is characterized by marked discrepancy in the availability and quality of service between private and public facilities and between urban and rural. Remember, we are going to Abuja. Did you see that? We are going to Abuja. So this might form part of your justification, for going into Abuja, for opening, apart from whatever analysis you have carried out. For example, you have done is it MPV, sensitivity, break even, and all of that. Okay. So by the time you can support it and say, you see, you don't just lift all these cases, all these things I'm highlighting, and dump it into the case. You should be able to analyze. Okay. You should be, so that's making use of information in the exhibit. You cannot for example, let's say currently Nigerian doctors are on strike. Okay. You can't mention that in the case. You can't, except it was mentioned in the case that doctors are on strike. Every answer you need is in the case. The only thing that might help you more to do your, to carry out a very deep analysis is probably because you are working, okay? And probably you are listening to this lecture. So you have to think why. What is the impact of marked discrepancy in the availability and quality of service between private and public sector? So that's what you are bringing on, okay? Now, look at challenges. Look at challenges in the public healthcare. Budgetary allocation. Did you see that? One of the major challenges in the healthcare delivery in the country is budgetary allocation, which has been hovering between 5 to 6% of the country's annual budget. Can you see? It's so low. So now, for example, if I'm asked to use SWOT, that might be that could be a threat, right? Because the healthcare is not even funded. And this can also be the reason why I might need to go to Abuja. Okay, so trying to tap, because if you notice, even in reality, how many people even go to public hospitals? Can you see that? How many people will even go to public hospitals? So the devastating position of the health sector in Nigeria might even be the reasons why this company, organ specialist hospital, will continue to perform. Okay, provided all things being equal. Now look at this again. Said the lack of quality facility in the country. Can you see quality? And you remember, I think somewhere around those exhibits, they talked about the vision or the mission of Oga Specialist Hospital, okay? That they want to cater for is the high class of people and all of that, okay? What has the lack of quality facility done? Increase in medical tourism. That can also be a threat. So what it means is, if because there is no quality facility, specialists and all of that, what happens? People decide to go abroad. They decide to go to abroad, for medical attention. Okay, even recently, the president of Nigeria even went to the UK. So what are we saying here? Okay, so there are wider issues that you need to bring on. The number of Nigerians leaving the country to seek medical treatment abroad is increasing. So if the examiner decides to ask me to use SWOT, this is a brilliant point. This is a threat to me if I need to continue to operate in Nigeria. That's what you're bringing on. Okay. Okay, so that's what I've done there, right? Now, opportunities. This talked about opportunities within my SWOT, consolidation, rise in HMO, okay? The supply of properly designed medical devices and equipment. I don't have time. I would have gone, much, much deeper around that, okay? But you could see that these are opportunities. Remember that it is the HMO that determines where patent care will occur. Did you see that? Okay. Even the introduction of National Health Insurance Scheme, okay, is also, part of the opportunities that OGA might need to do. Now, we're giving companies history here. Why do you think we're giving companies history? Normally, if this is a real life issue, okay, and you're working with OGA specialist hospital in a real life, and you want to carry out financial analysis, you don't need companies history, okay? But because it's an exam, in reality, you're not working here. You just need to have some background information about the company's history. That's why this was presented. So how on earth, for example, I want to, analyze my company's performance, okay, and I'm starting from brief history about the company. Then I start telling the board, Oga Specialist Hospital was founded in 1986 by 3 friends. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Obviously, no. You're telling the board. So what are you doing here? Nothing. You don't need to do anything here. Okay? I know the video will go viral. So if you have issues around company's history, please call me, pick it up on me. Okay? And I'll explain why it will not be there. Okay? So that's it. Now look at the nature of the business. They said they operate 3 hospital units. I've tried to marry, the 3 hospital units that we are operating now with our intention to go to Abuja. Did you remember? So all this information are not just there. You are, you're going to go through what I call critical thinking. You are going to connect them together. That's why I was trying to highlight all of this. I'm sure if you have not read the case before and you are listening to it for the first time, it should be making sense to you. And if you have read it before, you are getting more meanings to the case. Now, why am I doing this? I don't want you to limit yourself to whatever I've written in that report. You can do better than I have done. That's the issue. You can, it's only me that wrote it. Now I'm talking to about over 300 people now, and I'm trying to explain, then you should be able to do better. That is the idea. You should be able to do better because you are a chartered accountant. That is it. You have to think like a professional, not like an engineer. I told you earlier. You should be able to connect all of this. Now, look at the next one. It said the hospital from inception is planned to cater for high class of the society, most especially corporate executive, expatriate, upcoming professional who value healthcare delivery and could afford the cost of a special treatment. What is that telling me? Ethical issue. That is it. Ethics. I can bring this on under my ethical issues. Why must I focus on high class of the society? I have abandoned the poor in my business. It's an ethical issue. So you can bring it on. Remember, professional judgment. You must demonstrate all of this in your report. Critical thinking. Are you seeing the issue now? Critical thinking. Okay? So that's exactly what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Okay? Somebody is asking me, saying, are you saying you're not using SWOT? And somebody responded, noisemaker, I have shouted enough on SWOT. If you want to use SWOT, go and use it. I'm begging you. In fact, I even did it in a report, and I told you why I did it. It's not, I'm not saying you should not do it. Anything you want to do, go and do it. I have seen people calling me about 2, 3 diets that when they got into that exam, they went to do something else, and it's all turned out to be something else. That is it. Why? Okay, so why are you here in the first place if you know that you must use SWOT? So why are you here in the first place? And they have told you that we are your coach. Okay, see, what I'm telling you tonight was exactly what I did when I did case study, and nobody even lectured me. Okay, so I just needed to share those ideas. I remember when we were fixing courses, in SCA and all of that. When it got to case study, I just said, "Oh, let me try that," because my own style of teaching case study is different. That's the thing. Okay, let me just try it out. So I'm just sharing what I did. That was all. Okay, so and I don't think anybody that you are able to do 50%, not even up to 50% of what we are telling you tonight. You can't come back and add that question. Now look at this again. About 80% of Oga hospitals patents are registered under HMO. Is that not a threat? it's a strength in one way. It's also a threat. And their bills are settled by these HMO, while the balance are individuals who settle their bills during each visit. This is that. One way is a strength for me because I think somewhere they said HMO has the power to influence where patent care will occur, and we have good relationship with HMO, so it's a strength for me. But on the other way around, what if that relationship is no longer there? Then HMO has that power to start redirecting the patent to go somewhere else. Is that not a threat for me? Did you see now? Connection. Should be able to connect all of this. Okay. Now, look at that. Okay, this is what I just said. Can you see? HMO has the power. Can you see? Can you see that? That's what I just said. The vast majority of patent bills are settled directly by HMO, and hence the relationship with HMO is critical. Did you see that? And it's critical to the ongoing success of hospital. OGA is fortunate that it has well-established reputation with most HMOs for providing high-quality services while keeping medical services or costs under control. Do you see that? So one way is a strength for me. Then the other way could be, a threat. So you might want to bring that to the attention of the board. Okay. Now, look at revenue model. We're giving fixed fee flat rate and flexible rate. Under fixed, we bear the risk. It's as simple as that. What it means is we would have charged earlier. So whatever happens, we may not be able to charge more. Okay. But flexible, we don't bear risk. Flexible is we can easily change even as the treatment goes on. That's about flexibility. So now I'm thinking that the examiner might require you to evaluate the impact of revenue model on cash flows and liquidity. I'm just thinking. He can ask you, okay? He can ask you. So what do you do about that? I think I've done that for you. So you might when you see the report, you see what I'm talking about. Now said approximately 50%. So it's just saying 50-50, for fixed and flexible, of August revenue is derived from all those models. Okay. Now we're giving the shareholders and directors. Okay. I will say, let me just make 1 or 2 comments here. Okay. Although okay, sorry. Amen, Mr. Daniel. God will increase your wisdom. Thank you, thank you. Me saying, well, concerning the ethical issues, your head is there. Yeah, this my head is there. And I think you said why we are not to say our gospel. Yes, of course, you don't need to say it. Yeah, I'm just emphasizing on that fact. Okay, when I got in there, you don't need to say it. Okay, now look at the shareholders and directors. So they just told us. Now look at here. They said Prof. John Olayemi, Chairman, Chief Executive. Okay. Now, you might want to pick this up to say it's a corporate governance issue. one person is holding the post of a chairman and CEO, contrary to Circle 2003, when it comes to corporate governance, okay? You might want to pick it up, but I disagree with you. You don't pick it up, okay? Don't pick it up. Now, listen, anything you are writing to the examiner, you have to be sure of what you are writing. Code of corporate governance is only compulsory for publicly listed companies. Go and check it out. It is only compulsory if my equity instrument is traded on the stock market. Okay. Once I am a limited liability company, I am only encouraged to comply with the code. It is not compulsory. Okay. Even though it is desirable. Okay. So that means if you needed to talk around here, you must be very skillful, to be able to bring out issues around here, okay? Because by the time you start saying Olga Specialist Hospital did not comply with the code, you are on your own. You just made a blunder. Remember, you are a professional. So you needed to be sure of what you're talking about. So if I were you, I don't even go here, okay? Just ignore, all right? So that's it. So for people that will be asking me corporate governance, so I've tried to explain that. Then we're giving competitors. They didn't put this up for fun. You should be able to display. It could be part of the threat that these 6 major competitors might pose to organ specialist hospital in the future. Okay, even though they now say something, however, organ hospital has been adjudged both nationally and internationally to have been the best hospital in Nigeria. So this is another strength. Okay, so organ is the only Nigerian hospital accredited by the Joint Commission International and one of the 2 in sub-Saharan Africa to be so accredited. This is a guarantee of safe and quality health that meets its standard. In fact, when you're analyzing what's it called? Future, what do they call it? What do they call it? 100-bed facility. You can bring this on. You can bring it on, okay? That we can leverage, on our ability that we've been adjudged to be best both nationally and internationally, and even our accreditation will speak for us, okay? Because normally, once you are certified, just like you have ISO, International Standard Organization, or if you work in aviation, there's this IOSA, is that IOSA, right? Okay, or by HIATA and all of that. Okay, so there's a way you get contract because your operations are being merged or with international standards or best practice. Okay, so you can bring them on. So they are not just there in isolation. I know some of you are screenshotting. You have the notes, okay, but I'm not sure whether you're having this exact one because this is my personal copy that I stood on, okay, but I'm not sure whether you're going to have this. Okay, but you're going to have every content, okay, but this particular one I highlighted. That's what I'm not sure of. Now, if you see on the screen, you see my copy. Now, future plan. We want to establish 100-bed facility, okay? Then they also talk about organ information system. The key issue here is that it is paper-based source document before they enter into the computer. So that's the issue here. So what do we do around here? I will show you when we get there. Now, because of time, so we're giving Exhibit 5, that's a management account, okay? We're giving management account. Okay, let me look at this. Let me look at this a little bit. So we're giving the revenue, we're giving theater, accommodation, pharmaceutical, equipment income, laboratory. Somebody was asking me earlier why I did not use equipment income when I was doing my revenue stream because cost was not attached to that, okay? That was why. So I couldn't get the contribution to profit ratio and the margin, okay? Then we have other income, pharmaceutical, laboratory supplies, and all of that, okay? So it's management account. So obviously, you may not be able to do all of this when you are carrying out your trend. So just select the key ones, okay? Just select the key ones. In fact, if I were you, I would just do that revenue streams if it's part of the requirement and leave all these ones, okay? Because that's the key. Okay, so then, but you might need information on the total revenue. And when you are doing what's it called, analysis of cost and overhead. So I've already done that for you. So just sit on it and look out for what works for you. What works for me may not work for you, or what works for you may not work for me as well. Okay, so that's what you need to do around here. So remember, we're giving budget. So obviously, we bring on actual of 2020. So when you are doing your analysis, don't use budget figure for 2020. Okay, don't use budget figure for 2020. Don't even do trend for balance sheet. All right. But when you are doing your ratios, you might pick up ratios that affect the balance sheet. Is that okay? Now, this is the notes to the account. For you guys that were asking me, sorry, how did I get those figures in the, sorry, can I take some water? Sorry. Now, how did I get this? How I got the figure. They said catering and laundering expenses are in respect of accommodation. So that's why the cost of catering and laundry you attach it to accommodation. Did you see that? Then, note two, now said employee expenses are allocated as follows. For theater, 45%. That means you go into that statement, pick up the figure for employee expenses, apply 45%. Whatever figure you get, you take it to theater. Can you see here now? They didn't put equipment income. Did you see? So that was why I limited the revenue streams on this four. All right. If you do that in the exam, you are fine. Okay, you are fine. But if you want to make comment on equipment income, that is also fine. Is that okay? So you still catering 20% of that figure in the income statement. Okay, that's what you apply in all the year. Just pick out that figure and apply it. Okay. They now send notes to the budget. So they are just telling me how they prepared the budget. In fact, this may not have any impact on my analysis, okay, except I see the actual figure. Budget is as good as it's useless until I do budget and budgetary control by way of variance analysis, okay? Okay, so that is it. So my budget is just there to watch my expenses so that I don't overshoot the budget. Now, Exhibit 6, that's a mail from my boss, initial mail from my boss. Now, what he's telling me is, he was telling me that the board is seriously considering to start a branch in FCT. What I need from you, can you see I've highlighted it again, is to review the attached Excel in Exhibit 7, okay, to ensure that I have prepared it in a technically correct manner and I have not missed any issue. Now, this is relative, okay? The problem now is this. Do I need to start thinking of issues that have been missed in that budget? Obviously, no. I won't advise you to go in that way, except you are very experienced. This is what you do in practice. Then you can bring that on. Then, two, he said, ensure that I have prepared it in a technically correct manner. This is straightforward. Now, the question is the capital budget. Has it been prepared technically in a correct manner? The answer is no, because irrelevant cash flows forms part of NPV computation. Okay, so obviously you might need to bring that on when you are doing your analysis. Now, you now said we may have to calculate the break-even revenue for the board in the new on the new hospital. So that means you are doing break-even. I don't think you need a soothsayer to tell you this. They will probably want to know when this venture will start making profit, payback period, and how sensitive profit are to revenue levels. What is that? Sensitivity analysis. Perhaps give that some thought too. So that is it. Anyway, happy reading, and I look forward for your input. So that's what do you want to do around the capital budget. Okay, that's what they want to do. What they wanted to do around the what's it called? Um, the capital budget. Okay. Okay. Now let's move on. I saw some of your questions, but you guys are not patient. Okay, you're not patient at all. Uh, I'm just still trying to. I'm still trying to explain all of this, and all of those questions will be addressed. Now, this is my capital budget. Okay. Now, listen to me here. The case that was released this year has some error here. Okay, it was a little bit different from what was released last year. This case was initially released March last year, 2020. Then it was cancelled shortly before COVID. that the exam was cancelled, because of COVID. Then when the exam was to be written in September, the entire case was cancelled. Then you have to bring on another case. So when they represented it, they made it's an obvious error. Okay, it's an error. Okay, it's not deliberate. If it was deliberate, if you do the casting, how can they repeat license application and consulting fee twice, and it will not affect the balancing figure, okay, or the balanced figure? Okay, so it's not possible. So it was an error. Okay, so what I have done was to use the original figures. That was what was released last year. So the issue now is this. If you also take a look at IRR, they wrote IRR there, but the figure was not there. Okay, in the current one, even the NPV, they just said NPV at 12% order. That's the order rate. Okay, but they didn't give the figure. But this figure was there last year. So there are two ways to it. Okay, there are two ways to it. It's possible that they already printed the error, the one that contains the error. So what it means is you will not still see the NPV figure when you get in there. But obviously, you're going to use this figure to do your computation. So I'll just ask you to note that figure, and that's what you're going to use. Is that okay? That's what you're going to use. Now, listen to me. Listen to me again. Listen. I want you to listen. There are two things that can happen in the unseen. Now, I've told you, I can't go on all the possible way. I will have to stick to a way. I'm going to tell you the two things, and I'll tell you the ones I have stick to. Okay? I'll tell you the ones that I have stick to. Sorry. I'll tell you the ones that I have stick to. Number one, listen. Number one, the examiner may be silent about this summary of capital budget. It might be silent. What did I mean by that? You just get in there. You get mail from your boss. Then they give you other information, okay, and they tell you the requirements. Then they give you management account for 2020, okay. Then you move on, all right. That means you did not see anything about this summary of capital budget. That is one scenario. Another scenario is this. Another scenario is this. They can tell you in the unseen that your boss can tell you that he has discovered that he made some error in the capital budget, that it will like you to consider relevant cash flow. I'm just thinking wide. Once they say that, what it means is this: the NPV figure we have used here will not apply again. You have to recompute the NPV. That will now be the basis of you getting your break-even analysis, your sensitivity analysis, your cost of capital, and all of that. Okay? You are going to recompute it. But if the examiner is silent, I am begging you, just go ahead and use this NPV. The best you can do is to exercise professional skepticism to say that the cash flow items as irrelevant cash flow. It will save your time that way. If you want to start to recompute NPV, hey, it's going to take your time. But you can do that. The examiner says that maybe your boss says he has discovered that he made some error, that he want you to adjust the capital budget. That is when you might need to consider relevant cash flow. But this is one of the reasons why I told you that is an error. Look at here. They said direct opening cost. That's what you have in the current one. Meanwhile, the last one is direct operating cost. There is nothing like direct opening cost. So it's seriously an obvious error, okay? It's an obvious error. So let me say that again so that you get what I'm saying. I cannot do the two scenario, okay? It will waste a lot of time. You can only stick to one scenario. You can get into the unseen, and the examiner says there are some error around the capital budget. That means you might need to recompute your NPV. But if you do not see anything, you just give you other information. I'm begging you, just pick that NPV. Go and use it the way I have done it here. So I would rather prefer to do that and exercise professional skepticism. Okay, it's better that way. Don't forget, even if you use the correct NPV, it doesn't mean if the project is viable, it doesn't mean when you get there in reality, it will be like that. That's what you need to understand about business. Now, listen to me here. Let me say one more thing. If you lose NPV, for example, let's say you have positive NPV in your SFN, that's your strategic financial management, they will tell you that you accept the project. When you come to case study, that is not the case, okay? That is not always the case. The fact that I have positive NPV is not automatical for me to accept that project. I still need to evaluate properly. What are the operational issues that I'm going to have? What are the financial risk exposure? Okay. What about funding requirements? You needed to consider so many things. That is why they call it business analysis. So okay, even in practice, how many projects don't forget that all these figures are assumptions. What if there is COVID-19 and everybody is deserting hospital? They are not coming again. So all these profits that are projected, am I going to make them? Did you see the issue now? So the fact that I have positive NPV does not give me the liberty to simply tell the examiner, please accept. So but naturally you say accept, but you might decide to bring on every other issue, okay? So that is it. That's what you need to understand that in that place. Okay, so that is where I can start. That is where I can start. Okay, so let's now take a look at suggested unseen. This is suggested. I am not saying this is what will come in the exam. I'm not in any way connected to the examiner. Even if I'm connected to them, nobody is going to tell me what is going to come out, okay? Because they know that anything we say is going to go so viral. And the what's it called now? The integrity of Ican is at stake, okay? Is at stake. So that's it. So this is what I think you might see, or that'll be very close to what you are going to see in the exam. You don't need to screenshot, okay? You don't need to screenshot. I'm going to send everything to you. Now, these are the things I am thinking in your exhibit. Exhibit 8 is going to be the email from Deborah Iwalola, your boss, to you, Joseph Chima. So that is where you're going to see your requirements. Exhibit 8, except they decide to add another exhibit before that. Maybe that's when you see it in exhibit 9. But if they are following this pattern, obviously you're going to see exhibit 8 where the requirements will be. I will show you shortly. Then exhibit 9 should be email from the MD, okay, to my boss on the need to carry out this financial analysis. Obviously, you're going to see that, okay? Then exhibit 10, they are going to bring on management account for 2020, okay? And I try to go wide around that. I was thinking differently. I don't want to think the way every other people will think. So that let me think in a worst case scenario. So I have to think in a worst case scenario to prepare management account for 2020. That's the worst case you can ever see, okay? Once you don't see it that way, then they can follow the normal trend. Once they follow that trend, it's going to be easier for you, okay? But I needed to think outside the box to bring up this. Then in exhibit 11, I am also thinking, I am not sure, that they might give you summary of events that affected August Specialist Hospital in the year, that is in 2020. Remember, they gave us budget for 2020, so they're going to bring on the actual. So what happened that year? So I'm thinking. Then in exhibit 12, most likely you see highlight of strategic financial projection. I highlighted it for you in your exhibit, okay? That's your financial forecast. They may ask you to assess that. Then exhibit 13, obviously, you have background information about the business proposal. It might be more detailed than I've done here, okay? Because I'm not there. I'm just thinking. It's quite difficult to predict the unseen. That's the truth. So that's why you see most centers, they can't even do this. They just limit their computation on the Preseen. And you cannot do a meaningful analysis on that Preseen without having a possible or suggested unseen. So it's very difficult. But I think I've tried to be able to produce this, all right? And I pray it's not going to be materially different, because once it's materially different, it's going to affect the completion of the whole report, especially the conclusion, the recommendation, and all of that. But like I've said, this is a worst case scenario, okay? This is a worst case scenario. So let me now explain. Now you're going to see this email I have attached herewith, exhibits 9 to 13, in respect of our strategic and operational business proposal and management account for the year ended 31st December 2020. So you are going to see this, okay? So let me just go straight. It said, let me go to paragraph 3. Paragraph 3, this is where you have the requirements, okay? This is where you have the requirements. Now look at paragraph 3. You are to carry out a detailed analysis of the management accounts and prepare reports that will assist the board in its deliberation on the business proposal. You are also required to carry out an evaluation and appraisal of business proposal and recommend whether it meets key financial objectives. You will find an independent report on the Nigerian operating environment and its industry in our strategic plans working paper file. Please go through these reports. They will assist you in your evaluation. Please draft for my review. Did you see that? Draft for my review. Don't be carried away by that and start addressing the report to your boss. No, you address it to the board. A report to be submitted to the board. Do you see? The report should comprise. So this is my requirement 1, an evaluation of the performance of the company as reflected in the management account for the year ended 31st December 2020, as presented in Exhibit 10 and 11. Your evaluation should comprise an analysis of key changes in revenue, cost, and overhead by comparison with the previous 3 years to December 31st, 2019, and evaluate the impact of our revenue model on cash flows. I'm just thinking they might decide to ask you that. You should also comment on why we made a loss in 2020, despite huge profit recorded in the last 3 years. This is my thinking. This may not happen, okay? But it is my thinking. I'm just thinking wide. In case they made loss in 2020, how do you go about it? So that is the art of that report. But if, for example, you have crammed the report and you did not see anywhere that they have made loss, you know you're on your own already. You're on your own. So even if you are cramming, cram with wisdom, okay? Cram with wisdom. I'm not saying this is what we come, but I think God has helped us in the last 3 diets to predict correctly. And I know this will not go, it's not going to be an exception. But I'm not saying this is what will come out, okay? So you have to listen. Okay, so this is what I think. Why did we make loss? So we're going to find out, okay? We are going to find out. Now, requirement 2, a critical evaluation and assessment of the business proposal as contained in Exhibit 7. You have to compute break-even revenue together with an analysis showing when this venture will start making profit and how sensitive our profit are to revenue levels, okay? Your analysis should contain a clear commentary on any broader commercial and ethical consideration as well as risk that may be associated with venturing into this business proposal. You are also required to comment on whether this proposal, I think Hans should be there, on whether this proposal will help the company to achieve the key financial projections in the financial plan for 2020 to 2024 as contained in Exhibit 12. Your report should also provide key information to the board on how implementation of ERP can increase the effectiveness and efficiency of information system. Now, under the ERP, this is what I think they may ask you to do. But beyond this, they might give you other information around the cost of ERP. They will never ask you to do feasibility study, never. But they can give you maybe cost for you to just compose, small computation around the cost of ERP. As a mathematician or as an accountant, you should be able to handle that, okay? I can't start thinking about that cost. But I think they may just ask you to tell the board to justify why ERP or factors they need to consider, in trying to implement ERP. So, I told you earlier that you might need to also know things around IT, okay? You might need to read more around IT. There are so many ways, but I can't go in all of those ways. I just have to stick to one for me to be able to write this report. That's the essence of this lecture, so that I can also open your eyes to every other way the examiner can decide to come, okay? So that is it. So I have my requirements already. Then let me explain the other exhibits. Now, this is the exhibit from my MD to my boss, okay? From the MD of the company to my boss. He said, Deborah, as you know, we have just completed. So this is where it is originating from, okay? Where this report is originating from. We have just completed another successful year. Can you see that? Year of trading. And as usual, the board will like you to carry out a review of our performance. Can you see? Okay. A review of our performance during the year. Your review should comprise an analysis of key changes in revenue. Can you see they are re-emphasizing what's it called, the requirements? Okay. So the board would like to also know why we recorded loss in 2020 despite each profit in the last 3 years. Don't forget, it's just my own thinking. It will not be exactly the way I've said here when you get there. Okay. So you can read on and on. You can read on and on when you have it. So don't let me waste time on that. Sorry. Now, this is what I've projected, what I've done for 2020. So for people that are asking, how did you get figure for 2020? This is where it is. I've not released it for you, okay, or to you. So you have it here now. I just match the budget with the actual. Then you compute your variance. It's as simple as that. Okay. Meanwhile, my variance was based on the financial projection. I'll show you shortly. Okay. It was based on the financial projection and the actual in 2020. Okay. So that is it. So this is where you have it. So you are going to have something like this. Now look at here. Can you see they made a loss? I just, just my thinking. I don't know. Okay. If they make profit, that is fine. That means that reason for recording loss will not be there. Okay. And that will be very easy for you. But if I've said they have made profit in 2020 and you get in there, it's a loss. You are going to think, to bring it out. Why did they make a loss? Okay. But let me do it for you now. So when you now get into the exam hall and it was profit, it's a smooth ride for you. Okay. It's a smooth ride for you. But if they made a loss, you are going to struggle a little bit. So that's why I'm doing it the worst case scenario way. And I think you bear with me for that. Okay. You bear with me with that. Okay. So that is it. Now, I have my balance sheet as well. I just assumed all those figures. So I'm not saying that the actual figure, okay? Because, the problem here is this. By the time you are doing the variance, and maybe in my own report, I have said they did not meet the budget. You can get there, they met the budget. So that's why it's going to be catastrophe if you did not cram with wisdom. I'm not saying you should not cram. Cram if you can cram, but make sure you cram with wisdom so that where there are variations, you can tweak it when you get into that exams. Okay, I can't be 100% correct. It's not possible. Then I also have notes to the account, just the way we have in the Preseen. Then I also have note 3 on bad debt and unsubstantiated bank balances. Can you see? This is where maybe somebody is picking up receivables. So I just assumed all of this: trade receivables, staff receivables, unsubstantiated bank balances, investment in faith clinic. I just assume all of this. I'm just thinking wide, okay? And I have that figure. Now, what are the summary of events that has affected us? The examiner decides to give you this, or he gives you something that is similar to this. Come on. You are going to say a whole lot of here. Let's find out. He said, against a background of considerable uncertainty in the economy, we are generally pleased with the year's performance. However, the following events affected our operating performance in the current year. So, for example, I can present the issues here under operational and strategic issues in my report. I'm going to show you when I get there. Communication gap exists between revenue and finance department, whereby revised invoices raised as a result of disputes in tariff and inadequate approvals from HMOs are not communicated by the revenue department to the finance department. I'm just thinking, I don't know. Okay. Staff debt stood at 44 million. Bullet 3, and unsubstantiated bank balances of 231 million. Okay. Yeah. Unsubstantiated bank balances of 231 million. This basically means that these are bank balances that are carried in the company's book, but were not found in any bank's account. What does that mean? Are you seeing accounting issues here? I'm just thinking aloud. Okay, so this will give you some, some great insights when you could get into the exam, or maybe when you see similar issue. Unidentified receipts from customers were not adequately investigated. Rather, they were recognized as other income instead of being credited separately, instead of being credited to respective customers' accounts. Account receivable balances were not tested for impairment. Hence, doubtful and irrecoverable balances were reported as good as and recoverable in 2019 financials. Okay, I'm just thinking, I'm an accountant, right? So I'm just bringing out all those issues that I think the examiner might present to you. Okay, our investment in Faith Clinic was written off and it no longer exists. Our relationship with HMO was very similar to prior years, and about 80% of our patents are registered under HMO. Receivables from HMO account for over 90% of receivables. I'm just using the insights around the percent to project into the unseen. That's what I'm doing there, okay? That's why I said it involves strategic thinking. There has been a significant change in credit quality, and the amount may not be recoverable. This means that most of our hospital fees owed by most of our customers over the years have now been written off. And the company does not see any possibility of recovering them. Therefore, to be on the prudent side, we have no choice to write off the amount in our current financial year. All those amounts were written off in one accounting period. Is that prudency? Okay, there is a question for you. Are they really prudent around that? Maybe that is the reason why we recorded a loss in the current year. You may wish to show the effect of this separately in your analysis of our management account for the year. Okay, so that's my thinking. Like I will tell you, that is my thinking. Okay, that is my thinking. So this is the highlight of the strategic financial projection. So can you see that 2020? That is exactly the budget. Okay, so I've given you the actual there. So this is what you're using for your variance analysis. Okay, so don't go and use the whole account. Just come and pick up the financial projection and use it for variance analysis. And they did not give you financial projection. Just select key items and use it for variance analysis. And if you don't want to do variance, okay, that's not a problem. Okay, but I think there's a reason for putting budgets around that. Then we are giving background information about 100-bed facility. This is what I can do. Okay, it might be much than this when you get to the exam, and it might be lower. You remember I told you earlier, they might decide to tell you that irrelevant cash flows forms part of the capital budget, that you might need to recompute NPV. They might not give you new figures. It's possible. The examiner might even be, disturbing you with that summary of capital budget. You may not even use it in the exam. That's why you needed to be sharp, okay? Don't be dogmatic. I keep saying that. You can just get here. They now give you new information entirely. All the figures you have crammed, they are useless, okay? So that's why I'm showing you this. But how do I do that? I can't do all of that. I just needed to stick to one way and I teach you, but I tell you the other possible ways the examiner can treat it. Is that okay? So you might get there and everything you see in that summary of capital budget in Exhibit 7, you may not use one singular figure because they might change the direction, okay? They might have changed the direction because I keep wondering, why did they cancel this case last year? Why are they bringing it back this year? Okay, that's the way I think. I'm still struggling to provide an answer. Okay, is it that they have changed the complexion of the unseen? If they have changed it, it's fine. Okay, if they have not changed it, if it's remaining the same, so why are they bringing it back? Okay, so that's why I don't think like a student. I just try to preempt the examiner, and that's why I was departing from the usual way everybody would have provided a solution to this case. Okay. Okay, so that's the issue around that. That's the issue around that. So that's the best I can do. But I've told you, what will happen, and that is the end of this. That is the end of that. Now take a look at our solution. We are getting close to the end of the session. Okay, I know you are dropping so many questions. You are dropping so many questions. Okay, but like I said, I might miss out your questions. I might miss out your question. Feel free to give me a call. I'm going to answer them. So this is a full report. I have given you an advanced report for you guys to familiarize yourself with. But this is a detailed report. I wrote it from my head. Okay, I stood behind the keyboards and I typed. If you see it somewhere else, deduct it from here. Okay, it's as simple as that. They can come and pick it up with me. Okay, If you see it somewhere here, that's why one of the reasons, if you really want to write a quality report, you can't write it the next day when the Preseen has been released. It's not possible. You need to sit on it and produce a nice report to make life of the student much, much easier. Okay. So I know this video will go viral. I wrote it right from my head. Okay. So if you see somewhere else, they simply dubbed it. Okay. It's as simple as that. And I don't have issues with that. They are doing well. People will copy you. Okay. So that is it. I have some notes for you there. Please go and read it. I also try to put up 6 common pitfalls of candidates writing Ican case study examination. You might want to read that. But this does not form part of the report. Oh, I am saying this because of people that will cram. So that when you get into the exam, the first thing you're writing, 6 common mistakes that Ican students, Ican, and you're writing pitfall 1, pitfall 2. This is not part of the report. Is that okay? Okay, so you need to understand that. That is not part of the report. So, sorry, I just needed to let you to understand that. Okay. Okay, so so let me now let's see. Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, now so this is it. This is my cover page. So when I get into that exam, you write August Specialist Hospital internal memorandum to the board of directors, report on financial performance, and evaluation of strategic business proposal prepared by finance and administration department. If you like, you can put the name of your boss, Deborah Iwalola. It's as simple as that. March 20, 2021. I've told you how to do the date. Then this report is for internal use only. This will fly. You don't need to bother. Don't argue about this. If you're arguing about 1 mark, then you're on your own. Okay? You're on your own. Okay? So that is it. Now, after that, the next page is my executive summary. But I will not write executive summary until I've written a report. But I've told you the circumstances where you might need to write your executive summary. Okay? Why are you screenshotting? You don't need to screenshot. I will come back to the executive summary. Okay? So let's take a look at how you should go about it. Okay? Now, then I have my introduction. I can also do this until I've done my appendix. If you are very smart, like I've told you earlier, you might want to do this. So let me go straight to the appendix and I come back and show you the report. So you have to be with me here. All of you that are asking, how did you get this figure? How did you get that figure? I will not check the chat room, okay? I will not check, just listen. If I still did not answer your question, then you can chat me up or you can call me. Then if I have 1 or 2 seconds, I'm going to take a look at the chat room. Now, this is the SWOT. If you are asked to do SWOT, I have told you, it will sit on your exhibit 1 and you are not explaining. You just bring out a point. You know, I've told you earlier, if you see this anywhere else, you simply copy it from me, okay? It's as simple as that. So that is appendix. So you agree with me that one of our strengths is good relationship with HMO, demographics, good brand name, okay? Good network coverage. We are on the island, we are on the mainland, at least in Lagos. Then our weaknesses is paper-based transaction. If you look at the structure of the company, where they talk about company's history, there's no company secretary there. I can't see that. Cash flow issues, the ability to retrieve data. Okay, that might be the weaknesses. You can have more and more, based on your own thinking. Okay, this is just my own. Now, what about external opportunities? Then we have industry policy, consolidation, I was showing you earlier, increasing number of HMOs, large market size. I told you they give us market size, market for properly designed medical services and equipment. I show you sometimes, along the line. The introduction of national health insurance scheme is also an opportunity. Threat, existence of 6 major competitors. Even though we are the best now, we need to keep an eye on the competitors. Vast state of healthcare system in Nigeria that has increased medical tourism. Can you see that? Still, or emergence of new competition, which can happen. Little or no trust in Nigerian hospitals, excessive power of the HMO. Can you see? That's the relationship I was taking, connection I was telling you earlier. Good relationship with HMO is strength. Then excessive power can be the issue. How do you analyze this? Don't go and analyze all of them in the main report. Maybe under strength, you can do 2. Weaknesses, do 2. External, do 2. Okay, depending on which one. Then you don't need to, explain it the way you have written it here. For example, you can talk about good network coverage, even though it's standing on number 4 here. But I can go and discuss it in my main report. Okay, so that's what you're doing here. But remember, I only did this in case the examiner decide to shift away and ask you to do business analysis. That is why I have done this. If the examiner did not ask you, my brother, my sister, don't go there. What it means is my financial statement analysis will stand on my appendix 1, okay? To stand on my appendix 1. So I've told you the reason why I have to do that. I have told you the reason. Somebody is saying, please explain demography. You see everything in the report, okay? If I needed to start explaining all of this, I won't be able to pour out my mind, okay? Everything that I needed to do, okay? You see everything in the report. That's why we are here. Maybe when I get there, I might say one or two things, okay? So this is, I'm sure you should be able to do trend, okay? You know, this is a full report. I needed to show everything. But because of time in the exam, you can select. And even if I were you, I may not even do this. Okay, maybe I'll just do for revenue and do for cost and move on, because I needed those information when I'm analyzing my cost and overhead. Okay, I needed them. So every other thing I just ignore because it is just 1 mark. It is just 1 mark. It's as simple as that. Okay, I think in one of my lectures, I told my students, I'm not sure, maybe I should say it again. You know, when my last dive student told me, and when she saw me at the center about 4 weeks ago, she said, do I know that she did not do one single calculation in the last exam? That was December exam, okay? November exam that was written in December, just last year, Dotmark, Nigeria. And she passed. I said, how? What did you do? She said, when she was doing the financial analysis, by the time she gets to where she needs to write those figures, you know, the increase or decrease in percentage, she will just press, even the ratios, just press a calculator, bring on the figure, get the percentage, you write it. No single calculation. And she got 59. Okay. What does that tells me? It emphasizes the fact that nobody is marking your computation. It's as simple as that. So, but in your case, I'm not saying you should not do it. But if you're doing it, please be smart about it. You may not be able to adopt that method, okay? It may not work for you. You might need to see the trend. You might need to see, you know, all those percentages so that it will help you in your analysis, okay? So even myself, I don't think I can also adopt that kind of method, okay? So that's why I said sit on it and know what works for you. So you should know how to do trend. Let me quickly explain that. Now look at this. I am in 2017 and 2018, okay? I wanted to look at the trend, that's the percentage increase or decrease. So I say old minus new over old, or I say current year minus base year over base year, okay? Even if you say base year minus current year, just make sure you divide by the old, okay? So if I'm doing 2017 and 2018, my 2018 is new, 2017 is old. So I will now say new minus old, Abi, or current year minus, new minus old over old, okay, or old minus is the same, okay? Just ignore the figure, the negative sign. You can only put out the sign where you have cost and overhead, okay? So I say 1197 minus 1250, I have a figure, that is 53. I put that 53 on old, on 1117, it's going to give me 4%. That's what I'm doing. But if you're doing it in the exam, you may not need to show change in absolute figure, okay? That 53, I'm looking at revenue, 53, that change in million, in absolute figure. You don't need to show it. Contain it, okay? So you don't need to show it, okay? Just show, in fact, you may not even show that 1197 in 2017 and 1250 in 2018. Just show you percentage difference, okay? That 4%, just press a calculator, press and move on, okay? If you are very smart, so you don't need to show all these figures, okay? Now I've told you, this is not corporate reporting. It is corporate reporting. Now you can decide to sit on this, okay? So you don't need to show that. So that's what you do year on year, like that, okay? So just select the key ones and move. Then I now go to my revenue streams. You have to do this, okay? In fact, if I were you, I would rather prefer to come and do this than to do the first one I just showed, the financial statement analysis. I would prefer to come and do this. But if you do that one too, fine, it's okay, okay? I'm just telling you. So just weigh options and you know what you are doing, okay? Now, look at my revenue streams. I picked theater. If you check 2017, you will see 348 in that account. So I'll just use 2017 to demonstrate this. Go and apply it on every other thing. If the figures change or it's not the same thing with what I have there, just as is an error, okay? Because I use Excel, okay? I don't have time to start, doing calculator and all of that. So you might be seeing running up error, or I mistakenly, inserted the wrong figures. Okay, so obviously you should know there's an error. Okay, that's why some of you have been asking me, and what you're asking me is obvious. There might be obvious error, probably because I didn't have time to check the formula properly. Okay, or I might want to press 358 and I press 355 or 357 because of the keyboard and I didn't care to check. So that might be, so you know that those are obvious error. So let me now show you how to do this. Now, let me come back here. I'm sure you can see my screen. Okay, let me come back here so that I can show you how I come about those computations. That's the question some people have been asking me since we started from. I can't jump what I was doing now. Come and do that one. Okay, so let me just show you. I want to show you. Sorry. Okay, now, look at it. So this is the note to the account, okay? I wanted to show you how we got this employee expenses of 181. Like I said, I'll just show one, okay? So once I show you one, you apply it to every other thing. I can't be showing you how we got each figure. Is that no, I can't do that. Now, so look at theater. It said 45%. Can you see? Employee expenses, okay? So I come here, employee expenses. Did you see that? Then it say 45%. I now go to the account, employee expenses. What are you saying? How much is the figure? Okay, I come to that account. It's going to tell me. Can you see? It say employee cost. Can you see now? 403. Can you see? 403 employee cost. I pick my calculator. Can you see? 0.45 multiplied by 403. It gives me 181.35. That's it. 181.35. If you insert that in an Excel to round it up, so that's why you're seeing 181 there. Can you see now? That's how I got the 181. So I don't see the difficulties in that. Then, what is my contribution? What is my contribution? I simply remove the cost from the revenue. Okay, so I now say 348 minus the answer. I have 166 here, 166.65. That's how you have 167 there. It rounded it up for me. So that's how I have this 167. Can you see? It's as simple as that. How do I get my contribution margin? I simply say that figure, that 167 divided by the revenue. It's as simple as that. Divided by 348. Okay. I have multiplied by 100%. That's my margin now. Yeah, I have 47.8 on my calculator. Can you see? On the Excel is saying 47.99. It's because I use Excel. Can you see? So that is it. So what's the issue around that? There's no issue. In fact, I have to use calculator to test it. Can you see? To be sure it's correct. And this is the first time I even use calculator. I just formalized it on Excel and I imported it here. So that's it. So that's what you do. Okay, the same thing for accommodation. In the notes, they have already told us the note, what goes to accommodation, what goes to all of them. Can you see? Let me show you. Let me show you again if I can find it. It said catering and laundry expenses are in respect of accommodation. That is it. So you go and pick that cost and you apply it. And how much is catering? It's 20%. You apply. How much is pharmacy cost? You apply. You pick that figure in the income statement. Apply 5% for laboratory. So that's what we have done. That's what we have done. It's as simple as that. So that's what you do for theater, accommodation, pharmaceutical, laboratory, and all of that. Okay. So that's what you do. That's what you do over there. That's what you do over there. Somebody is asking me, how do we get 4%? I think I've done that. I've done that. If you listen to me, I have done that. It's just because you are so anxious. So all those little details, you may not be able to listen. Now, this is my ratio analysis. Okay. You can do more than this. You can do more than this. I'm just doing this. Okay. You can do more than this. Sorry. You can do more than this. I some of you guys called me on return on capital employed. I think I didn't calculate that at all. That 15%. So I've corrected it here. Okay. I think that was the only error that I see here. Every other thing is correct. And I think around the total cost, total overhead, I think for 2018 it was 335 or 8 that was there before. I've also corrected that because I have to press calculator to check. I think it was a formula on the Excel that was wrong. Okay. So that, but I've tried. No, I think I inputted a wrong figure here, but some other ones I didn't perform the, what was it called? For example, the return on capital employed, I didn't formalize that place. So that was why you saw that. So I've done it where if you calculate it now, you have this 6%, 70%, 17%. But because in 2020, we made a loss, so there is no return. Is that okay? So that's why it's 0%. But if you get into that exam and it is not loss. It's going to change you. So cram with sense. Okay, cram with sense. So like I said, you can do more than this. Now, I'm supposed to actually call this financial statement analysis because I'm doing common size. Total overhead to revenue is actually common size. So how did I get this 307? Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me show you. You might do it in your own way, okay? You don't have to do it. Sorry. You don't have to do it. Okay, somebody was even saying something that I said receivables was increasing. It's even increasing here now. Abby, 119. It's increasing now. That's be looking at these things properly before you ask question. At least make some effort. Now, this is my overhead. I just look at operating costs, indirect operating costs from this premises and maintenance. Okay, so if you say 74 plus 26 plus 15 plus 67 plus 91, then I added depreciation plus 34. So it gave me 307. Did you see that? Yeah. If you like, you may not have depreciation. It won't materially distort whatever you are doing. So that's how I got this 307. Okay. So just apply, what I've done to other years. Okay. So that you can get those figures. So cost to revenue, finance charges to revenue, return on capital employed. You can do receivable days, payable days, analyze it. Okay. So you can do as many. But if I keep doing all of that, that report will be so much. Okay. It will be so much. So I don't want to really. So that's why I limited it to what I've done here. But obviously, you can do more than that. So for my strategic financial projection, remember the forecast that I gave to you earlier? It's also containing that budget. It's the same thing as budget in 2020. You now go and pick up the actual. Okay, they will give you the actual. So this is my own actual. I showed you. Sorry. Sorry. I've showed you earlier. Sorry about that. Okay. So now, how do I get my variance here? I'll just simply say actual minus budget over actual. Okay. Actual minus budget. Let me see whether that will work. So I'll say, no, so let me pick total revenue, for example. I'll say, let me pick theater. Okay. I'll say 402, just listen to me, minus 409 is going to give me minus 7. So that's why you have minus 7 here under the variance. But I want to know the percentage decline or percentage shortage or deficit. And I say that's 7 divided by the actual. Okay, so it gives me 1.7%. Can you see? I just formalized it there. So the calculator is also giving me the same thing. So that's how you do your variance. It's very simple. So these are the things you can do easily. So when you are now making your analysis, you just start to tell the examiner whether theater met budget or not. Here I've said it doesn't meet budget. You can get there and it meets budget. Okay. This is just my own thinking. So that's why I said when you are cramming, cram with wisdom. So this is what you are doing around your variance. If the examiner gives you, all those other figures. Now, so let's now take a look at sensitivity analysis. So, sorry. So this is how you do your numbering. Okay, 4.1. So you have 1.1.1. I have cost of capital. Higher, that figure. If you are not given in the example, okay, just use the same figure and it not tell you to recompute. So just put that figure somewhere in your L. Is an error. It's obvious error. Okay. Then remove from cost of capital. Can you remember? Okay. Let me come back here. Let me show you. Okay, here. Okay, can you see now? So this is my IRR here. Can you see? Okay, they omitted it there. If they did not omit it, why did they put IRR here? So it was omitted. So just put this figure in your head. Don't bother. Okay, don't bother. Except they ask it to recompose, which is unlikely. Then so you have your IRR here. Then what is my cost of capital? That is the order rate. So can you see? Let's see. Okay, so this is it. This is my order rate. So 12%. So I bring it on, divided by cost of capital. If you perform calculation, you have your sensitivity to be around 120. Okay. Then I will now do capital outlay. My NPV, okay, which was omitted, but it's actually what was given last year. 240.95 million. Okay, so I bring it on here. Can you see that? Then divide by present value of capital outlay. So how much am I going to invest? What is the present value? I come here. So in my here, if you check, let me see. Let me see here. You know, in the one they released, they did this twice. So you can't do it twice. It has to be once. Okay. So I have this 70. I have this 9. Can you see that? Okay. So that's what you are bringing up here. So that's how we got this 79. Is an outlay. Huh? That's why it's negative. So then in year one, am I going to invest in your primary one investment appraisal? Year zero is always the capital outlay. But if you have done advanced investment appraisal, you know that even in year two, you can have capital outlay. Even in year three, you can have capital outlay. Okay. You can still put in some money. Okay. So that is it. So I now come here. So it tells me here that in year one, I still need to renovate. Okay. I still need borrowing costs and I need to buy some medical equipment. Can you see? And don't forget, I also say assume that operation will begin in the half of year one. So I had all of that together. That is how you get this 116. Remember, we are just using both relevant and irrelevant cash flows. I have told you, once the examiner is silent, just do it this way. Just move on and exercise professional skepticism. If it is not silent, that's when you might need to recompute that. Okay. So I still use my order rate. I now discount. I have my discounting factor. You should be able to do that on your calculator. So that will be 1 plus r raised power minus n, okay? So that you can multiply by that figure, and my present value is going to be 227.42. So that is what you have here. So that my capital outlay will be 105.95%. So I now look at my selling price, okay? NPV over PV of sales, my sales revenue, okay? My sales revenue. So I need to get the PV of my sales revenue. I will do that again. Can you see? So this is my sale. In year zero, I have nothing. In year one, I have 53.78. How did I do that? So this is my year one, okay? This is my year one. Some people were saying this revenue should have been multiplied by 2, but I beg to disagree, except you have an information otherwise in the unseen, where they said this revenue is actually for fixed rate or flexible rate. That is when you can multiply by 2. Remember that fixed rate is 50% and flexible is also 50%, but it did not tell me here. Why will I be computing capital budget and I will only put revenue for one of those revenue models? It's not possible, okay? It's not possible. So that's why I beg to disagree, except you have information otherwise when you get in there. So that's why you might need to adjust that revenue. So that's what you put up here. Then you also discount to present value. After you have done that, you have this figure. So that figure there, 1249.66. That's what you bring on A. Then you have 98, 19.28%. Then you do your payback period. There is also an argument here. What do I use for my payback period? Some people are even saying revenue. Some people are saying, so many things. Okay, it's actually because of the way the capital budget has been computed. Okay, but obviously my payback period should be my net cash flows. Okay, so you bring on your net cash flow. If you want to do cash flow from operation, so be it. But in my own thinking, I think it should be net cash flows. Okay, I think it should be net cash flows. So that's what you are bringing on here. Okay, you now do cumulative, so you can calculate. So if you calculate, I'm not sure. I use Excel. It's possible you get this figure, or maybe 4 months, 5 years, 4 months, or 4 years, 8 months. Okay, it's just rounding up error. Okay, because I use it. Just do your normal payback. I'm sure you know how to do payback. So you might have what matters is your interpretation. It's not even what you are getting here. For example, if you have 4 year, 8 months, is it better? Must I accept? Okay. Even the board might even want something longer. Okay. So it depends. So that's why it's actually your interpretation that matters, not even all these figures that you're getting. Then I cannot do my break even. I simply add all my revenue from year one to year six in that capital budget, all my direct cost, I add it together, operating cost. They call it opening cost. Opening cost is wrong. It's actually operating. It's an error. So what are my indirect costs? You add them together. Admin expenses, you add them together. So when you remove that cost, when you had all of this, so that you can get this total fixed cost. Okay, how do I get my contribution to sales ratio? I simply bring my contribution to onto my sales. Okay, so that I can get this 0.59. And how do I get my break even? Okay, it will now be my fixed cost over contribution to sales ratio, and that's how you get this figure. And that is the end of your computation. That is the end of your computation. I have also done something here. 5 minutes to the exam. You can just open this place to refresh your memory before you enter into the exam hall. That's what I've done here for you. Okay, that's to tell you that I originated this report. Okay, so because I understood everything that is there. Okay, so that is it. So I wish you guys the very best. But we are not done yet. We are not done yet. We are not done yet. Now, I will now come to my report. Let me now show you some key areas of the report so that you understand how to write. And for people that will cram, I have been saying, cram with sense. Okay, cram with sense. So let's take a look. I will start from my introduction. What am I telling the examiner? Sequel to the email that was sent to me on March 18, 2020, where I am required to carry out a review of our company's financial performance during the year and an appraisal of the new strategic business proposal. Can you see, comma? This report contains, at that point, I pick up my requirements 1 and 2. That's what I'm putting up here. An analysis of key changes in revenue, cost, and overhead across our revenue streams by making comparison to the past 3 years. Okay, paragraph 2. Did you see now? The report also contains an evaluation of the impact of the company's revenue model on our cash flows and revenue streams. In addition, the report presents a clear commentary. Did you see? I am still on my on requirement. I'm loading my introduction with my requirement. In addition, the report also contains a clear commentary on why we made a loss in 2020, despite each profit recorded in the last 3 years. Did you see? Furthermore, I did not say however, furthermore, the report also considered a critical evaluation and assessment of the business proposal to establish 100 best facilities in Abuja, together with discussion on broader commercial and ethical consideration, as well as risk that may be involved in with venturing into the business proposal. Did you see? That's what you're writing. That's what you're writing. Now, I now move to, it's different from what I showed you earlier, the summarized report, right? So this is the way you write exactly. That summarized report is to acquaint yourself earlier, okay? Now, I now say here, there were concerns about the possibility of withheld data. Can you see? Not on under and header. Okay, that's professional skepticism. You're right. Besides, the market share data were not provided. Okay, so that's what you're writing. Okay, now, furthermore, the assumption used in the information provided in Exhibit 12 were not stated. Okay, this raises concern on the level of reliability can be placed on that strategic financial projection. If it was stated, you don't need to do that. Okay, the private sector accounts for 75 to 75% of expenditure in the country. The effect of this might explain the reason behind continuing rise in companies' revenue. See, that is it. You are making a whole lot of sense. I've not even started the report. You see, I'm already writing about, by the time you write this in an handwriting, you're already writing about a page already, even if it's not more than a page. You're already gaining confidence around here. So if I were you, I think I can do this even before I go to my appendix. Okay. Now, if you were required to do SWOT, this is how you do it. Can you see? If you are not required, please don't do it, but know it. Okay. In case you are required. So this is it. I just pick 3 out of about 4 or 5 that have been identified under strength. Can you see? I pick good relationship with HMO. You don't just state that we have good relationship. What effect is it having? Let me show you. You said we have successfully maintained good relationship with our HMO in Nigeria for several years. We are also fortunate to have been established a good relationship with HMO for providing high quality health services while we keep medical costs under control. Why did I pick that from? Can you remember when I was analyzing for you under those exhibits? This may explain what is the effect. That is what we call SWOT analysis. This may explain the reason for continuous growth in revenue we have been witnessing since about 80% of our patients are registered under HMO. Can you see? This will have great impact on the company's sustainability and continued growth in the health industry. That is what you are writing. That is what you are writing. Even if you are not writing this under SWOT, okay, it can form part of your report one way or the other, okay, even if you are not presenting it under SWOT. Now, demographics, our strategy from inception has been to cater for high class of society, or society, especially corporate executive, blah, 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 although there are ethical concerns. Did you see? That is what they call analysis. That's what you are doing, evaluation. Although there are ethical concerns around this strategy, these are contributed immensely to the company's growth and sustainability. This is because high income groups expect a longer lifespan, and we consequently spend more days in the hospital. Now, what I said here, you can never find it anywhere in the case. That is work experience. That is what work experience we bring to the table. You cannot put up this for the examiner and come back to write these exams. It's not how. Okay, that was why I said if you see this report anywhere else, it was copied right from me, word for word. Okay, now, but I've tried to, improve on the report greatly. Now, good, you see, that's what you're writing, so I don't need to waste time here. So I've tried to give you some information around here. Okay, now, I also talked about threats. Can you see the existence of 6 major competitors? I try to analyze it for you. Excessive power of HMO. It's not in the summarized report I sent to you, Abby. It's a joker. That summarized report. That even outside Nigeria, it has gone there. Now, analysis of revenue streams. So you now bring on, based on your what's it called? Trend analysis, okay, or that you've done for revenue streams, you bring it on here. You start to write, okay? So you can do that on your own. Now look at cost. That's why I said you might need to do that trend because of your cost, okay? The cost incurred on theater operation increased by 3% between this one is not 2076, no, that would be 2017 to 2018, or obviously that's an error, okay? So I think I'll try and correct that. I pray I remember before I send the final copy to you, okay? So I'm sure once you see that, you should know that that's an error. So that's what you're doing. Now look at performance analysis. Can you see? I am still under my financial headings. You must have all these headings, okay? Analysis of revenue streams, cost and analysis of cost and overhead. Then this is my performance. When I come to performance, when I'm doing my revenue streams, I look at those revenue streams individually. When I come to performance, I look at them holistically. The company recorded revenue increase throughout the 4-year period. There was 4% increase in revenue in 2007, in 2017 and 2008. There was also 6.6% increase in revenue in 2018 and 2019. The increase in revenue between these stood at this. Can you see? You are changing your, construction and all of that. See Appendix 1. Okay. So you can decide to reference here. If you don't reference, that's not a problem. Okay. It would therefore appear. Can you see? Reason for the increase that our revenue model has been effective, and we were able to attract customers who now patronize local hospitals. We already said everybody is now going on medical tourism, okay? Also, our good relationship with HMO. You see, the answers are right there in the case. If you cannot tell the examiner why your revenue has increased, you are on your own, okay? You will not earn the maximum marks, okay? Our good relationship with all our major healthcare organizations in Nigeria might also explain the reason for revenue recorded, since about 8% of our patents are registered under HMO, despite the increase recorded in revenue based on the review of the management account. We, however, recorded a profit before tax of 78 million in 2020, as against a profit of 180 million in 2019. Don't forget, this is my own thinking, okay? I've said it earlier. If there is no loss, then you continue in your whatever. So I tried to analyze that. So you can read it on and on. You can read it on and on. You can read it on and on. Now, I also try to evaluate revenue model on cash flows, okay? You can see that. Then what was the reason for recording loss in 2020? I also did that. The loss recorded, if it was there, okay? If it's not there, that means you will not need to do this. I think I did something similar in Dotmark, where I also did the reason for having low cash balance, okay, in Dotmark, Nigeria, because we're giving cash flows. So me are looking at the cash flows. I already saw the reason why the company has low cash balance in the current year. So if this, I'm not thinking that most likely maybe it will be lost this time around. So that's why you're having this, okay? So the loss recorded in 2020 financial year were largely due to the company's decision to write off 414 million. You can see that under the appendix that in the predicted on scene, okay? A breakdown of the write-off shows that unsubstantiated bank balances comprise a large proportion of the write-off at 231 million. This basically means that these are bank balances that are carried in our books but are not found in account. Debt owed by our staff amounted to this was also written off. Trade receivables and investments in faith claims took at this and were written off as well. The reason for writing off the trade payables were premised on the fact that there has been a significant change in credit quality and the amount may not be recovered. This means most of our hospital fees owed by most of our customers over the years have now been written off as we do not see any possibility of recovering them. Although these debts has been classified as bad and doubtful. Look at that. They have been classified as bad and doubtful. They should have been written off in more than one accounting period. Why can't they spread it? It appears though that we have decided to write them off immediately. This appears to be the reason for recording loss in the current year. Okay, that is my thinking. I don't know, but I won't be surprised if you see something similar. You know, they used to bring it, so maybe they have bring it again. They have brought it again. If you really understand what I just said, then operational and strategic issues. You have to do this. If you like, if you like, you can say ethics, operational and strategic issues. That's what I did in Dotmark. But because I'm a very dynamic person, okay, when I write, I'm so dynamic. The report I wrote to the board last year, by the time I'm writing to them this year, they see the difference. Okay, I'm very creative. So this time around, I separated ethics from operational and strategic issues. Okay, so that people, because I know a lot of people are using those reports as a basis. So I keep changing every time. If you give me this report tomorrow, I will change the completion entirely. Okay, so that's to tell you that once you understand, then you know what to do. You can play with it at any point in time. Now look at operational and strategic issues. I also picked it up from the unseen that I suggested. Okay, the problem of communication gap that exists between revenue and finance department, where revised invoices raised as a result of dispute in tariff and in that inadequate approvals from earth management organization, which are not communicated by revenue department to the finance department, is worrisome. What have you done? Professional judgment. Now, look at here again. I said they should have been written off in one accounting period. Judgment. I'm just telling the management what I've done is not correct. You have to do that. So some of you might be thinking, maybe I'm writing internal report. Forget. This is professionalism. Okay. You need to demonstrate that to the examiner. Okay. Now, so I try to, analyze that on and on. I also said here, the unidentified receipts from customers, which were not adequately investigation, will explain the porous internal process of our company and failure of internal control system. Besides, the recognition of unidentified receipts from customers as other income, instead of being credited to respective customers' account, appears to be a deliberate misapplication of accounting policies. Armor on the management. Can you see? The impact of this is that the financial statements, can you see? You are not just lifting what is in the case. What is the effect? Okay, is that the financial statement will not reflect the true position of transactions and balances. We might also be carrying huge receivables in our accounts. Meanwhile, the debt might have been settled by our customers. Can you see that? So now our inability to carry out impairment tests on account receivable balances raises concern about the level of technical competence of our finance team. Okay, so that is it. So you see so many issues that you are bringing on and on. Then you now come to evaluation of strategic business proposal. You also analyze. I've analyzed it for you, so you can take a look. You can read it. You can read it. So this is what I was saying. So I did raise commercial and ethical considerations. So I did it separately, so you can also read it. So I also bring on ethical issues again. Okay, I told you I didn't merge it with that operational and strategic issues. Okay, strategic issues has to do with your move to go to Abuja. It's a strategy. What are the issues around that? Okay, and I think I mentioned it earlier on. You have listened to me. So I also made mention of ethical issues here. I think I also mentioned it when I was doing the analysis. So you can see that. So these are the key information on implementation of ERP system. Okay. So this is, I've told you a number of ways they can come around here, but I can't be writing everything. So I just have to stick to this. They might give you cost and all of that. Then I make my conclusion. When you're making your conclusion, just based on your findings, you conclude the analysis of hospital revenue show revealed a steady increase year on year. Similarly, the total revenue witnessed increase throughout the year. We did not achieve the budget figures in 2020. And if it was achieved, okay, based on the real Preseen, then you also mention it. Okay, so that's what you do. Then don't forget it's going to be in narrative form. So when you now come to recommendation, you have to write in bullets. Okay, you can also have fantastic recommendation more than I do. Remember, I didn't do much ratio. So by the time you do your gearing ratio, do current ratio, receivable, payables, okay, you see what is really going on. So it will help you to do your analysis. So from there, you now go to, sorry, executive summary. Okay, so let me show you so that you can see the difference between the introduction of the executive summary and the introduction in your main report. Okay, so if you notice, I did not call it introduction here. I call it scope and objective so that you're not mixing it up. This report provides information on the result of the evaluation carried out, on the performance of the company as reflected in the management account for the year ended 31st December 2020 by analyzing the key changes in revenue, cost, and overhead, and by making comparison, with the previous 3 years. I did not say secret to the mail sent to me. Can you see? Because don't forget, you must not use first person pronoun, I, we, you, her, and all of that. You cannot use it here. The report also evaluates. So you just summarize what the report is all about. Don't forget, when you're doing that, you must also state the objective of your report. So that's why it is scope and objectives. Okay. So what is my objective? Any report you are doing is to aid decision. Okay. Is to aid decision. Don't need anything to say. I have to tell you that the objective of this analysis is to provide information that will assist the board to make informed decision on the company's financial performance and the business proposal. Then under that, you must also do your methods of analysis. Okay. Or methods of your evaluation, which include trends, common size, variance analysis, as well as relevant ratios. Besides, can you see, instead of writing long sentences, so you try to make it so compact and so unique. Break-even revenue, payback period, and sensitivity analysis were also used. Can you see? Furthermore, because I use SWOT, if you are not using SWOT for the people that will cram, you may not need to do this. Okay, so you now say all calculations can be found in the appendix. Okay, so that's your heading 1 under executive summary. My heading 2, I talked about my assumption. It was assumed that some level of reliance can be placed on the information provided in exhibit 2. Remember, it was in that exhibit 2 that I picked up my wider context. Okay, when they were selling stories about healthcare sector in Nigeria. Hence, it forms part of this analysis. Further, the summary of capital budget for the proposed business plan was also predicated on stable macroeconomic variables for the next 6 years. Projected cash flows and sensitivity of profit to selling price was also assumed to remain stable during the next 6 years. Okay, so that's my assumption, and it can change. Okay, so that's why it's an assumption. Then you have your reservation. What are the things they have done that you're not really okay with? I can't call it professional skepticism, but I think reservation is beyond professional skepticism. Look at what I've written here. The company's decision to write off trade receivable in one accounting period may raise concern about management integrity and poor stewardship accounting. Although the reason, can you see, is like I'm trying to also bring out the reason for that because I'm doing analysis. You are not just one-way traffic when you are writing business reports. Although the reason for writing off this receivable was premised on the fact that there has been a significant change in credit quality and the amount may not be recoverable. However, the write-off should have been spread over for more than one accounting period. Okay, also, the continual fluctuation of naira exchange rate. You see, that's how you write. That's how you write. That's how you write. You continue to write. You continue to write. then you now come to your findings. So because I have used SWOT, so that's why SWOT seems to be starting here. If I did not use SWOT, you just start here, okay? All ratios calculated reflect good and stable performance, except for return on capital employed, which declines significantly in the current year. Don't start writing it has increased by 20%, it has increased by 30% here. What happened? And if it did not decline, you just said the examiner, all ratios calculated show good performance. You can now begin to isolate which of them, show good performance and bad performances. Okay, this area will require further review and remedial action. Anybody reading this, you already knows that return on capital employed has problem. Analysis of 4 revenue streams show good performance. The revenue streams witness increase throughout the 4-year period. So if I read this now, I already know what my revenue streams are actually performing. The contribution margin of the revenue streams was also good, except for pharmaceuticals, which recorded negative contribution margin throughout the period under review. Can you see? Now, don't forget, I guessed for year 4, okay? So year 4, pharmaceutical would have improved. So you just change that a little bit. The total overheads to revenue was also stable and increased significantly in 2020 financial year, while cost to revenue was static throughout the 4-year period. That's when you're writing. That's how your executive summary should be, okay? Even when I'm reading this, I'm so happy, okay? I'm so happy. You can't write more than this, okay? What else do you want to write? Okay, so that is it. You make your conclusion. Just copy and paste. You can copy and paste your conclusion the way you have it in your report, but make sure you're not using how are we and all of that. You can also copy and paste your recommendation, okay? So that you don't waste time. So here you can just say recommendation discussed include, you can pick key recommendations and you can pick, you don't need to sign this, okay, because it's part of your report, but it's just summarizing your main report. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being with us. I know you have so many questions that you have thrown on your chat room. I'm not sure whether, let me see whether I can pick one or two. Let me see whether I can pick one or two of them. Okay, somebody saying, can we put etc and so on? No. You have to be mindful of the tone, okay? So don't be so careless. Yeah, let me use that word. Don't be so careless when it comes to writing, okay? Don't be so careless. You have to be conscious because you are writing to the board, okay? Tone and your language matters a lot. The tone and your language matters a lot, okay? Please, sir, can we have the unseen questions and the summary? Of course, you have everything, okay? Everything from tonight. In fact, by 10:45, you have it, okay? So you can be sleeping on it. Even though I know most of you don't even open it until Wednesday night. That's when you now start asking me, how did you get this figure? How did you get it? And I've explained everything here, but that doesn't matter. So that's the only night that I don't sleep. That's the only night I don't sleep. So my phone is going to be on. I'll be ready to attend to all your questions. Okay, so don't worry. I know you have so many questions. But you don't forget, we have some of our people that are taking corporate reporting tomorrow. Okay, corporate reporting tomorrow. Go and sit on it. I'm going to send, you are going to get a video. Yeah, as soon as we finish now, I'm going to download it and upload on YouTube. So I send a link so you can also download and watch it again. Okay, but I'm sure you still have so many questions. Please feel free to call me. On the material, you see my number there in case you don't have my number, okay? And I want to wish you the very best. Now, listen to me. Let me give you my final words. Sincerely speaking, this is a very good case, okay? This is a very good case. Let me quickly address this question. Somebody saying since the basis of computing NPV was wrong. No, we didn't say it's wrong, okay? It's not wrong. It's just that we have irrelevant cash flows, okay? Now, don't you think payback period will be wrong? No, payback period. No. Well, no, you can't absolutely say it's going to be wrong. Now, the issue is this. If you recompute that NPV and you have negative NPV, what you are saying is right, okay? But if you still have positive NPV, obviously no. The only thing is the figures, okay? Because those variables would have reduced by the time I remove irrelevant cash flows. It would have reduced whatever inflow that is coming in. In fact, it might even elongate my payback period. And I already have 5 years already, okay, which is even high. But it's also dependent on what the what the board is looking out for. Is that okay? So that's the issue there. So you can't really say absolutely is wrong because even if I use relevant cash flows, if I use relevant cash flows, how sure am I that they are reliable? Don't forget, all of these are forecasts. Okay, what if there is COVID-19? What if the premises are acquired in Abuja, there is a seal on it, and I can't operate again? So what happens to even the relevant cash flow? So that's why it's case study. Okay, you think beyond the figures and bring out issues. Okay, so I can go on and on, but there's no time. Okay. Somebody is asking, should we use SWOT analysis? No, don't use it, except it is required. You didn't consider the 6-month operation in the first year. They said they will start in the first year, in the second half of the year, but we've already assumed that 53, whatever revenue will be generated that year. That was why it was slow. So you can't start dividing by 2. Is that okay? But if you want to do that, no problem. That's just my own idea. All right. So that's it. But you are wasting time. That's the issue. Why don't you leave it that way and move on? Besides professional skepticism. That's the shortcut to that. This is not SFN. Okay. Now, my final words. You have so many overwhelming calculations in the case. Okay. In the case. Although it's a very good case, like I've said earlier, it's a very good case. But you have so many overwhelming computations. So all I would just advise you is sit on it, pick out the ones you can absorb, pick out the one you can really go for, and that is what you should sit on. Okay. You cannot do all of that calculation. Remember, in everything you do, make sure you write a nice report. 4 hours will never be enough for you. If you know what you are doing, okay, that 4 hours will be like 40 minutes for you. Okay. I wish you the very best. And you will not come back and write these exams. Okay, that's my prayer for you. Now, somebody is saying whether the MPV is right or not, the explanation is what matters. Exactly. That is the answer. Exactly. Even if I said something earlier, if you even have positive MPV, it doesn't mean you must accept the project. It is your interpretation the examiner is marking. Okay? It is the interpretation that the examiner is marking. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Most of these questions you're asking, I've said it. Go and listen to the video again. Somebody is asking about SWOT. In fact, I spent so many time doing that, except probably you did not ask me. You did not listen or probably had a network issue. Okay. All right. Preseen is not ending. It's not ending, except they change it in the next syllabus. But I don't think so. Okay, thank you very much. Take care, my host. Maybe you have some final words for us before we go. I think we have really done justice here tonight. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. Ayomi. I'll call you Prof because you're a prof when it comes to case study. Wow, I have been with you right from the start of this lecture down to the end. And I'm sure that all of us have been blessed by this wonderful session of FCA business case study. Yes, our coach is an experienced analyst, and you can be sure that come Thursday, May 6, 2021, all your shots at the case study will be shots on target, and you are sure to score a goal. Yes, we encourage you to listen and to watch this recording one more time and get a good grasp on these case study details. We've been seeing people asking questions that if they are patient and watch this video, they will have their questions answered. So take your time, watch this video again, and if you still have any questions, put them in the WhatsApp group where you got this link from, and we'll be sure to answer your questions. You have some days to practice all that you have been taught today and to put your act in order for success. As your coaches, we will be at the sideline cheering you to success. Why? Because your success is our objective. Your success is our success. So, my final word, go out there and make yourself proud. Make FCA proud with this forthcoming exam. Success all the way. Good night, all of you, and I wish you a wonderful examination.
All right, thank you, everybody. One prayer for you. You will not suffer memory failure. I wish you the very best. Thank you. Take care. Good night.